20th of January. I'm Debbie Monterrey. Did you feel the earthquake overnight? We're learning more about it. We'll have details after CBS News.
I'm Scott Jagow.
Joe Buck criticizes Lambert Airport, and Kansas Cityans take the chance to pile on. I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. A frigid start to our day with clouds and some sun, becoming mostly sunny and breezy this afternoon, the high 42.
I'm Joe Pott. Indiana is your national champion in college football. We've got highlights and reaction coming up in sports.
CBS News on the way. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says the media is blowing things out of proportion. He'll explain.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. World leaders are gathered in Davos, Switzerland, as President Trump tries to temper tariff threats to EU leaders ahead of his arrival tomorrow.
I've done more than any other American president for NATO by far, and we'll see how that goes. But Greenland is very important.
One of the president's rivals, California Governor Gavin Newsom, is urging them to stand united.
At the World Economic Forum in Davos, Newsom told reporters Europe needs to have a backbone.
I can't take this complicity. People rolling over. I should have brought a bunch of knee pads for all the world leaders.
Newsom called President Trump a T-Rex that you either mate with or get devoured by.
Now, I hope people understand how pathetic they look on the world stage. I mean, at least from an American perspective, it's embarrassing.
European Union leaders will hold an emergency summit in Brussels Thursday to discuss Greenland and Trump's latest tariffs. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Millions of Americans are facing icy temperatures again today. A lot of people in the upper Midwest face sub-zero wind chills. It'll feel like the single digits in the Northeast. CBS meteorologist John Elliott.
Cold temperatures, yeah. For the East Coast, it's really all about the cold, with the exception of some snow that may waft its way your way. Better for the Southeast today. Bit of a bump in the central states, but still chilly. Front range of the Rockies. And then some of the best weather is going to be in the Southwest. Let's go to Phoenix. Sunny and 76, sunny and, partly sunny and 71 in Los Angeles.
Supreme Court hears arguments today on a Hawaii gun law. Legal contributor Jessica Levinson.
The legal question before the Supreme Court is, does the Second Amendment allow a state to prohibit concealed carry license holders from carrying firearms onto private property open to the public without the property owner's express authorization?
Actor Timothy Busfield will be back in court in New Mexico today for a hearing on whether he has to stay in jail while he awaits trial. CBS's Michael George.
A criminal complaint alleges Busfield touched two twin boys inappropriately while they worked on the TV series The Cleaning Lady. However, audio submitted by his attorneys yesterday appears to indicate the twin boys initially told police they were not touched on their private areas.
He denies the allegations. Indiana fans celebrating after the Hoosiers sealed the deal with a 27-21 win over Miami in the national championship game.
It's awesome for all the faculty, staff, and students, all the alumni. It's really cool. It's really cool for my daughter. I work here at IU. My wife and I graduated from IU, so this is really awesome for all of us.
Dow futures down 660. This is CBS News.
Real crimes, real justice. Follow and listen to 48 Hours on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
At 6:03, it's mostly cloudy. We've got 17 degrees downtown at the Gateway Arch. Today is Tuesday, January 20th. Good morning. I'm Scott Jagow.
And I'm Debbie Monterrey. There wasn't a whole lot of shaking going on overnight, but there was a little, according to AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
A magnitude 3.5 earthquake struck the central Illinois area near Olman. At about 1:30 this morning, that quake was felt over a fairly wide area, including the St. Louis metro area, but at this point in time, there are no reports of damages.
According to the earthquake magnitude scale, anything with a magnitude between 2.5 and 5.4 is often felt, but typically only causes minor damage. This one today falls in that minor category of quakes.
Belleville police are investigating a fatal Monday night shooting that resulted from a domestic dispute. Officers tell us a woman shot a man inside a home in the 600 block of State Street. This was around 8:15. They're interviewing witnesses and have detained the woman who allegedly pulled the trigger. Police are calling it an isolated incident.
In a KMOX follow-up, developer Paul McKee firing back at the St. Louis Development Corporation over its letter.
In response, McKee's attorneys claims the $116 million valuation they are asking for in exchange for Northside Regeneration's properties is because that's what they were appraised for. He adds the city's valuation was only listed in a 3-line Excel spreadsheet and was $20 million, representing a nearly $100 million gap between the two. The attorney says the city's valuation gives off the impression the NGA campus decreased the property's values. He adds the lawsuit against Northside Regeneration, accusing them of misusing tax credits, was settled without culpability. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Bi-State Development is spending an extra $1.5 million to fix a 1.5-inch measuring error. The agency admits new Siemens train cars were built too tall for the downtown tunnels, a major engineering oversight that COO Ron Forrest is now addressing publicly.
You know, as many of you know, the rail vehicle project had a rocky start, but we brought the team together. All of our partners are involved. They're now meeting on a bi-weekly basis.
The manufacturer is now shaving down the height of the roof equipment to create a necessary air gap for the electrical lines.
Did you hear what happened, or the reaction, when Joe Buck asked what happened to Lambert Airport?
The St. Louis native sports broadcaster tweeted Saturday on his way out to call the football game in Boston. Buck sarcastically called the empty concourse total mayhem and lamented the loss of the city's hub status. There were hundreds of replies. Soccerman Taylor Twellman agrees that Lambert looks deserted. Those who live here in the replies quick to offer a correction. The consensus, you're in the wrong spot, Joe. Users pointed out that while Terminal 1 with American and the other legacies is sleepy, Terminal 2 is packed, a struggle for Southwest Flyers, and still others answered Buck's question with a grim history lesson, reminding him that Carl Icahn and the death of TWA is exactly what happened to St. Louis's airport. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
There's scholarship money for Illinois high school seniors to problem-solve storefront issues. Jan Coleman has this.
How do you enhance the customer experience? What's the best way to integrate technology into retail? Just some of the questions high school seniors would puzzle over if they participate in the Illinois Retail Scholarship Challenge, sponsored by the Illinois Retail Merchants Association. The seniors working in teams would solve the problems and could earn scholarships of up to $60,000. CEO of the Merchants Association says the Scholarship Challenge gives young people a way to shape the future of retail while helping companies tackle real issues. To learn more, visit the Illinois Retail Merchants Association website.
After months of negotiation, the deal to save the Grafton Ferry is nearly complete. Mayor Mike Morrow says the Southwest Illinois city is moving forward with the purchase and has secured a partnership with the current operators to keep the ferries running.
We're looking at operating the ferry 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And so that's going to be a big boon for the region, for tourism. Every business owner that we talk to is adamant about it. We have to have the ferry open.
The service is scheduled to relaunch under city ownership on April 10th.
The Business Desk is sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com. Bill DeWitt Jr. has led the Cardinals ownership group since 1996, but at the winter warm-up over the weekend, he addressed the reality of his own personal timeline. While assuring fans the team is not going to be sold, he confirmed the torch is slowly being passed to the next generation.
Obviously, I'm getting to an age where I'm not going to be around forever. Bill III is at a perfect age to continue on for a long time. So, you know, that's our goal.
DeWitt III has been team president since 2008. He's been overseeing business operations and the development of Ballpark Village.
It is 6:08. We'll take a look at traffic and weather. Stay with us here on Total Information AM.
How many of you think taxes will go up in the future? And if they do, who will get hit the hardest? Maybe it's you, headed for retirement. You've been saving in that 401k or IRA for years, and that money has never been taxed. And Uncle Sam is looking at that account like it's a big, juicy steak. What can you do about it? Join the All Financial Group for their Taxes in Retirement Seminar, Thursday, January 22nd or Tuesday, the 27th. They believe a financial plan is not a retirement plan without a tax plan. Reserve your spot today by calling 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824. Or go to yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents nor representatives may offer tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with their qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
At 6:10, an update on the roads from Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, things continue to roll along, Scott. I had a report of a stalled truck in the roadway. Originally, they said westbound 70 around Mid-Rivers. I've been keeping an eye on it. I saw police go through eastbound, and eastbound obviously is busier than westbound this time of day, but I don't see any restrictions. Certainly don't see anybody hitting the brakes, and no slowdowns evidenced so far through that area, so that's good news, obviously. I think we're okay. Maybe the stall got going. Sometimes they stall out momentarily, and they catch fire, and they're back on the road. Right now, things look good on 55 coming up through Festus, and again, north of Bayless, 70 out to the west before you even get to Mid-Rivers, Warrenton, Wright City area. Everything's still light and on the go for you there. Downtown, we still look good. 55, 70, 64 across the Poplar, Muso Veterans Bridges, 270 both directions in that construction zone at Ladue. No worries there as of yet either. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
A frigid start to the day with clouds and some sun. More sunshine this afternoon, breezy and becoming not so cold with a high up to 42. Increasing clouds and remaining breezy tonight, though 32. Tomorrow, clouds give way to sunshine. A breezy day with a high in the mid-40s. Thursday, sunshine filtered through high clouds. The high temperature 38. Much colder Friday and Saturday. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Right now, we've got some clouds moving through downtown. It's 13 degrees.
I'm Joe Pott. I've got highlights from last night's national championship game coming up in sports.
It is 6:12. A St. Louis man is behind bars after stabbing another man over a stuffed animal. 48-year-old Antoine Baldwin is charged with allegedly asking for a teddy bear from a person outside the St. Patrick Center downtown and then stabbing the person and stealing it.
A probable cause statement says the incident was captured on surveillance footage. It adds Baldwin admitted to being in an altercation regarding the teddy bear and was found with it. He is on probation for burglary and stealing charges and is currently being held without bond.
Missouri lawmakers are looking at a mental health bill called the Care Before Predictable Harm Act. Sponsored by Republican Representative Tricia Burns from St. Charles County, the measure would let families and professionals seek treatment sooner before someone becomes an imminent danger by using a predictable harm standard. Burns says a lot of people don't realize that prison is the place that provides mental health care now, and they don't have the mental health hospitals to do it.
There's no way to contain them. Sometimes they'll say, well, we don't know if it's really a mental health thing or if it's a severe drug abuse substance issue. Well, you can't make them go to a rehab center. So you end up in this loop. And so families either get stuck having to be the warden, the nurse, the caretaker.
While there are mental health centers open around the state, many local sheriffs say the waiting list is sometimes years long. Burns says the bill makes clear that treatment should happen in a clinical setting under court supervision, not as a condition of incarceration.
The sale of lab-grown meat would be banned in Missouri under a handful of state house bills. One of them is being sponsored by State Representative Brad Pollitt of Sedalia.
I think this protects the farmer, the ag community, which puts $93 billion into our state economy every year. It protects them from an overtake of this down the road.
Pollitt says based on what he's heard, lab-grown meat could become a competitive threat to meat from livestock in about 10 years.
The next collective bargaining agreement could fundamentally change the business of Major League Baseball. Cards president Bill DeWitt III predicts the 2026 negotiation will be more volatile than recent years because of the collapse of regional sport network models, and it's making the financial divide between teams more pronounced.
I do think it's a key labor agreement, probably one of the more significant ones that we've experienced, just because that disparity has exacerbated over the years.
The Cardinals have dropped FanDuel Sports Network and are waiting to see if the league introduces a national streaming model.
Coming up in the news at 6:22, we'll hear some of an interview recently conducted by CBS's Tony DeCopel. He was in Pittsburgh and met with U.S. Steel CEO David Burritt. The topic of President Trump's golden share in the company came up, as did Granite City's steel mill. That's, again, coming up at 6:22. It's now 6:15.
Well, Indiana capped off a perfect season with its first national championship as the Hoosiers down Miami 27-21 last night in Miami. First half was mostly Indiana. It looked like it might be a defensive game even. Hoosiers were up 10-0 at the break, but things changed after halftime. Miami got on the board in the third. Indiana answered with a blocked punt for a touchdown. Miami opened the fourth quarter with a touchdown. That trimmed the Indiana lead back to 17-14. And now it's Indiana driving on the 12 and the Heisman Trophy winner with the ball in his hands.
Got to get to the 8. He's going to take off and run. Mendoza weaves his way first and go diving toward the end zone. Touchdown! That's why he won the Heisman Trophy.
Chris Fowler on ESPN. It's a 10-point game again. Indiana up 24-14 before Miami quarterback Carson Beck connects with Malachi Toney for a 22-yard strike. That cuts the lead back to 24-21 with 6.5 remaining in the fourth. Indiana able to stretch the lead one more time with a field goal. There's time left, though, for Miami. Miami driving, less than a minute to play on first down from the 41.
Beck steps up, delivers downfield, intercepted! Jamari Sharp makes the pick that will clinch Indiana's first national championship.
Jamari Sharp, as you heard, sealing the deal for the Hoosiers, securing that first national title and capping an unblemished 16-0 season. Mendoza completed 16 of 27 yards for Indiana. He threw for 16 of 27 passes, threw for 186 yards. He did not throw for a touchdown, but he did not throw an interception, and he added the rushing touchdown. Carson Beck, 19 of 32 for 232 yards. He tossed for a touchdown and an interception. Mark Fletcher ran for 2 scores and 112 yards for Miami. Kurt Cignetti at Indiana, now 27-2 in 2 seasons as the head coach.
Let me tell you, we won the national championship at Indiana University. It can be done, and I'm so happy for our fans. Words can't describe it.
That is Cignetti on ESPN following the game. The Blues are on the road tonight as they continue their road trip in Winnipeg. Winnipeg is the only team in the Central Division with fewer points than the Blues. The Blues start with 46. The Jets have 44. Puck drops tonight at 7 o'clock. More news coming from the Blues. It has to do with the coaching staff. We'll update you on that, and we'll hear from the head coach, Jim Montgomery, coming up in our next sports report. That comes up at 6:45. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX.
I do appreciate all the referrals that we receive daily. It is phenomenal. I've said it. I can't say it enough how much I do appreciate the referrals. With that being said, if you do refer me, you're in great hands. I will not sell homeowners that work hard for their money, just like myself, crap that they do not need. But if you want good quality, man, you can't even say cheap anymore. I don't think I can even say cheap by you can't even go by price. Okay, that's another commercial. Call me, Bart Inman, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. Remember, it's the only number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600 or bartinman.com. BartInman.com. Now that's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. My best advice to you when hiring a lawyer for your injury case is simple. If you know court personnel, ask them who they'd hire. They know. If you know an insurance adjuster, ask them. They know. And then ask them about us. Ask them about Morgan & Morgan. They know. I look forward to talking to you soon. There's only one Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm, for the people. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Paramount Plus is the new home of UFC, and we're coming out swinging with UFC 324.
Oh, what a shot!
And 325
Boom!
On back-to-back weekends. The new era is here.
It's time!
Every fight,
Bam!
yes, one subscription.
Oh my goodness!
Pay-per-view just got knocked out.
Let's go!
Back-to-back blockbuster UFC events this month, only on Paramount Plus.
Now the news at 1 The Fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Good morning. It is 6:20. Let's see how the roads look in the dark. Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, the good news is I don't see any flashing lights on the highway, Scott, so that means something, I guess. This traffic reports a service of Meadowview Memory Care. So pretty easygoing morning so far as interstate travel. There's not too much to be worried about right now. Everything looks like we're on the go. We had a stall reported 70 near Mid-Rivers, but I haven't been able to see anything through there recently, so they may have gotten themselves back on track and back on the move. Traffic's light out west, southbound 61. Eastbound 70, 64 coming across the Missouri River Bridge, no issue. Starting to see a little volume past Highway A on northbound 55, but it looks okay at Butler Hill. And again, just a little busy right around Bayless, so definitely a few more folks on the highways. Downtown, we still look good westbound across the bridges for Illinois drivers. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company St. Louis Traffic Center.
Discover Meadowview Memory Care in Arnold, a small, secure community on a beautiful campus. Enjoy peace of mind with all our inclusive rates and comfortable private suites. Schedule your tour today at rspseniorliving.com.
All right, it's a cold start to the day, but the next couple of days will not be too bad. In fact, it'll warm up to 42 today with sunshine. Tomorrow, 44, Thursday, 38. And that's warm because Friday and Saturday, our highs are going to be around 15 degrees. Right now, it's almost that. It's 13 downtown.
The news continues at 6:22. CBS Evening News host Tony DeCopel recently visited with U.S. Steel CEO David Burritt in Pittsburgh.
Well, there's nothing in this golden share that prevents us from doing what we want to do. We're aligned with what the president wants us to do. In fact, we wouldn't have agreed to this thing if we weren't sure it was going to be great for our workers and great for our company.
The Wall Street Journal, looking at that deal, thinking about it, and other business publications, they've used this term state capitalism. It's capitalism, but you've got this extraordinary state intervention. How do you feel about it? Or how would you describe it, I guess?
I don't see it as a great intervention because the things that are in this, we don't want to do anyway. Like things like changing the name of U.S. Steel. If we want to change the name, we have to get approval for that.
Yeah.
Idle a facility. We don't want to idle a facility. How about, the idea of following the trade laws? We follow the trade laws, so it's not that big a deal for us. What's important here is the investment that we got here, and we're unencumbered with that investment to create the best steel in the world.
I was in a conference room before this, preparing for the interview, and the Carnegie Way is on the wall. Profit and a relentless focus on profit is a part of that. Sometimes profit means closing a plant. Do you have to get approval from the president if you want to do that?
We don't see us closing a plant. In fact, we just did have an opening here because of demand increasing at Granite City. But
if you had to make a difficult business decision.
If we had to make a difficult business decision, we would have to get approval to close a plant, but we don't see a reason to do that.
Does that still feel like capitalism to you? What would Ronald Reagan say?
Well, you might have to ask him.
I don't think he's available for an interview, but I asked this seriously because if you read the business press, the conversation around this is new. It's a new form of American business. People have not dealt with it before.
We were delighted that we have this golden share because, again, What it does for us is make sure the investments that we want to make are going to be made. We have a national security agreement to make sure that we spend or commit $10.8 billion by the end of 2028. That's exciting. Think about that level of investment in the steel industry. You know what that means to communities and people's lives? And, I was just talking with workers here recently. Every one of them are saying, thank goodness for this deal. My kids are going to have a great opportunity to work right here at Irvin or right here in the Mon Valley or any of our facilities because this deal got done. That's the key message here.
So how many jobs do you anticipate being able to add in the years to come?
Well, there's been economic studies on all this. There's thousands of jobs that will be created as a result of that. Just you think about the trades, building the equipment requires a lot of support. So there's been independent economic development studies that talk about 100,000 direct or indirect jobs.
It's a big number.
Yeah.
And Nippon has been delivering on all the promises?
It's a partnership, even better than I imagined. They're transferring technology to us and allowing us to run this business. They are the best partners you can imagine.
And just because I'm a plain-spoken guy and a lot of our viewers just want a bottom line, is U.S. Steel still a U.S. company?
Absolutely is. U.S. Steel Corporation, that's our brand, that's our name, headquartered in Pittsburgh, and we're going to keep it there and continue to build here.
Did President Trump, as I read and as he said, veto an attempt to close the plant in Illinois?
Well, I think there were some communication issues surrounding that. That was at Granite City. Yeah. And as it turned out, we're actually turning on a blast furnace. And as long as demand is there, that's going to be a good business too. But, we can't guarantee things will stay open. We are going to manage the business, and we're going to keep a great relationship with this administration who did so much for us and the United States to help get this deal done.
So is that a yes or a no? Again, I'm just I don't cover business. So did the president veto it or not?
The president did not veto it.
And when you think about who you answer to, is it the shareholder, the Japanese, or the president?
We have a fiduciary duty to national security, and we have a fiduciary duty to Nippon. We keep them aligned, and it's a beautiful thing.
So this model of state capitalism, or whatever you want to call it, you think it's a good one for the future of American business?
I can't speak about how it works for others because these deals are very different. We got a great deal. Nippon got a great deal, and our future is incredibly bright, and our workers feel that way too.
I'm glad to hear that, and I hope all those jobs do come online. Is there anything else I'm not asking that you think I should know?
Well, just remember, we're still mine melted and made in the good old USA, and we're going to create some wonderful jobs for people that are going to endure for decades. It's really an exciting time for U.S. Steel.
That is the company's CEO, David Burritt, speaking with CBS Evening News host Tony DeCopel in Pittsburgh. The time is 6:27, and your time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Hey, this is Charlie Brennan, along with Dr. Colleen Bosler and Dr. Adam Voss at the Audiology Center. When was the last time you really enjoyed a conversation without straining to hear?
Charlie, so many people think hearing aids just make things louder.
But that's old technology. Today's hearing aids do so much more.
Exactly. With the dual chip technology, our hearing aids actually separate the speech from the background noise.
Which means at a noisy restaurant, you'll hear your friends and family, not the clinking dishes.
And the best part, your brain doesn't have to work overtime trying to fill in the blanks.
So that keeps your mind sharp, your conversations easy, and your relationships stronger.
Because hearing well isn't just about sound, it's about staying connected.
Thanks, Doctor. Call the Audiology Center today to schedule your annual hearing evaluation. Don't miss another moment. Call 636-441-7470 or visit theaudiologycenterstl.com.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, Click Grainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I was ordering food for the office from the same few places for too long.
For workplaces suffering with office food fatigue, every day's a struggle.
Before starting Easy Cater, I assumed having no good vegan options for Carl in finance was normal.
Easy Cater is designed to treat OFF with a huge variety of favorite restaurants, plus tools to help you meet dietary needs and stay on budget. Used daily, one platform lets you save time and shine. Ask your app store about Easy Cater or start an order at easycater.com.
Dreaming of summer with this crazy weather? Me too. And nothing says summer like the Muni, which means it's officially time to start planning your nights under the stars. Good news, Muni season tickets are on sale now. The 2026 season includes Hairspray, Shrek the Musical, South Pacific, Disney's Newsies, Ain't Too Proud, The Life and Times of the Temptations, Meet Me in St. Louis, and Something Rotten. See all 7 shows starting at only $126. For tickets, visit muni.org.
It is now 6:30. We have some clouds in downtown St. Louis. It's 12 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Scott Jagow. We're going to have a little bit of a warm-up in the next couple of days, but then we're going right back down to the teens. Today's high 42, overnight around freezing. Tomorrow all the way up to 44 degrees, sunshine in the afternoon, about 40 on Thursday. Then the cold front comes in again. Just 15 on Friday, 15 on Saturday. Snow is possible on Saturday.
Well, let's check in with Roger Brand and see if any of these cold temperatures are affecting people's ride in.
Well, I haven't seen any stalls, nothing in the roadway so far, Debbie. A few of them they cleared to the shoulders, but right now we're doing okay. Just a little busier on the highways. So northbound 55, Bayless up to River to Pear, Loughborough up through Virginia. A couple of slow spots there. It's busier now, a slower pace on North 270 as well, from Doherty Ferry up the hill to Manchester. Out west, southbound 61, a brief slowdown about midway down from Highway P to Wentzville Parkway. 64, a little slow up the hill toward Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Eastbound Highway 70, that's looking okay from the Wentzville area all the way across the Missouri River Bridge. We do have an injury crash. Lindbergh at Missouri Bottom. Emergency crews just pulled up there a couple of minutes ago. There are some restrictions, and right now, just brief delays there. Downtown westbound, we still look good across the Poplar and Mutual Veterans Bridges. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Thank you, Roger. Bi-State Development CEO Talby Roach says his agency is doing its part to control costs, but advocates say those efforts are being undermined by a state budget proposal being called catastrophic. Citizens for Modern Transit CEO Kim Sella says the governor's plan doesn't just cut funding, it decimates it.
So after reducing state transit assistance last year by 42%, the governor is now proposing a cut of an additional $5 million from general revenue, leaving just $1.7 million to be split among 30 transit providers across the state.
Sella warns a $1.7 million pot is effectively zero when spread that thin. It's a move that could force rural providers like Oates, which serves senior citizens in outstate areas, to cease operations entirely.
The idea of President Trump taking Greenland is an outrage. That's according to Democratic U.S. Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois.
Territory belongs to Denmark, and the president says one way or another, the U.S. will get it. Durbin and other lawmakers, including Republicans, just returned from a mission to Denmark.
We have friends and allies that have stood by us. The people of Denmark lost more than 40 soldiers in Afghanistan. Why were they in Afghanistan? Because they are our allies and friends, and we ask for their help. It's a reminder to me that we've got to stand by your friends, and you can't let this president divide us.
The president says controlling Greenland is necessary strategically.
That's Dave Dahl reporting.
Some in the St. Louis metro felt a bit of a jolt overnight. There was a 3.5 magnitude earthquake, and the epicenter was near Ullman, Illinois, that's southeast of Springfield. KMOX received one report from a source in Maryville who said her windows rattled and a couch shook. The tremor happened around 1:30 this morning.
You can go ahead and plan that summer vacation, and now that NASA confirms the Earth will not lose its gravity, like social media says it will. A totally made-up conspiracy theory called Project Anchor claims we will lose gravity for 7 seconds on August 12th. And some people gullible enough to believe that NASA had to issue a statement to debunking it. Scientists say The insane theory fundamentally misunderstands how gravity works.
Yeah. I mean, we're not losing gravity. Not yet, anyway.
We are losing our grasp on reality,
Yeah,
though.
there
And on
we-
social
that's-
media, it is getting harder and harder to tell sometimes with a lot of these videos and posts. I feel like I'm fact checking everything lately.
Yeah, and there's a group of people, I don't know, over the last few years who say things like the earth is actually flat, or, it's absurd because science proves they're wrong, but they still stick to their guns for some reason. I don't understand it.
I don't either.
Well, this news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Coming up, your business report. It is 6:34.
Hey guys, Dave Glover here from the Dave Glover Show. So, what is my show? My show is 4 different people living 4 different lives, all coming together every day between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. to talk about life, actual life, not so much headlines or did you see what Trump did today or XYZ. Never predictable because I never know what I'm going to talk about from one segment to the next. So it truly is unique and unpredictable. Join us.
104.1 FM, KMOX.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/Mike.
With Fidelity Wealth Management, a dedicated advisor gets to know you and your goals to build a comprehensive plan to help grow and protect your wealth. Backed by a team of specialists, they'll analyze all your accounts, even the ones they don't manage, to keep an eye on taxes and provide proactive portfolio insights that can help you unlock your wealth's full potential. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
It is 6:36. This is Total Information AM. I'm Debbie Monterrey, along with Scott Jagow. Time for your Money Minute. It's sponsored for you by Eamon, Gantner, and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Wall Street is returning from the 3-day weekend, and we're looking at a rough day of trading ahead. President Trump is showing no signs of backing down in his campaign for control of Greenland. He's threatened to impose tariffs on European countries that oppose his plans. S&P futures are down 115 points. That's 1.7%. Dow futures are tumbling 760 points. European countries hold trillions of dollars of U.S. bonds and stocks, some of which sit with public sector funds. That's fueling speculation that they may offload their holdings in response to the president's renewed tariff war. Meantime, Sony is spinning off control of its home entertainment business, including the flagship Bravia television brand, to Chinese rival TCL Electronics. The PlayStation maker is selling a 51% stake in the division to TCL. The two companies plan to produce TVs carrying the Sony and Bravia names. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Hey, this is Charlie Brennan. Have you noticed loose bricks or missing mortar around your house, on the walls, the patios, the walkways, the porch, or the chimneys? If so, you need to call Morelli Tuck Pointing. 314-645-1387. You might need one of two things: solid tuck pointing, the removal of old mortar with the replacement of new mortar throughout an entire wall or chimney, or maybe just spot tuck pointing. Spot tuck pointing involves the tuck pointing of a particular wall, a chimney, or other masonry surface in an area where it's needed the most. One example might be settlement cracks, usually found above or below windows or doorways. 314-645-1387. Call the company that the Brennans have called when we've needed tuck pointing. Morelli Tuck Pointing, the masonry specialists. Winner of the Angie's List Super Service Award every year since 2005. 314-645-1387, MorelliTuckPointing.com.
My Lowe's Pro Rewards members go big during Lowe's Pro Savings Days. Get member volume discounts plus an extra 5% off eligible orders with a quote of $2,000 or more. Plus, buy more and save more with up to 25% off DWV pipes when you spend $250 or more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 123. Exclusions, more terms and restrictions apply. Can't be combined with any contract or special pricing. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Visit the Pro Desk or Lowe's.com/terms for more details. Subject to change.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. You know, the big wireless companies say they have discounts for people over 55. But unless you're willing to sit on hold and ask, you're probably paying more than you should. At Consumer Cellular, there's nothing to hunt down. We're built for people 50 plus with plans starting at just $20. And our 100% US-based customer service actually answers the phone. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today and get your second month free for a limited time.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
He's Donald Trump's #1 enemy in Congress, Chicago politician Dick Durbin. Now, Durbin has a new scheme. He's doing the dirty work to benefit corporate megastores. Durbin's bill could cut corners on your credit card security, putting your personal data at risk. Big chain retailers and warehouse stores want to inflate their profits, and liberal Dick Durbin would help them do it. Tell senators, say no to the megastores and Dick Durbin. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Tonight, it's men's Pelicans basketball action as they face Duquesne. Pre-game 5:45, tip at 6 on your home for Pelicans basketball. KMOX.
At 6:40, traffic and weather together. Let's start with the roads. Roger Brand's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, roads are getting a little busier. Scott, this traffic report service of Financial Tax Strategies. In fact, there was a stall. I thought it was a stall. MoDOT says it was a crash. It really doesn't matter. They cleared it on North 270 just before Manchester, but traffic is slow on North 270 north of 44 up to that point, just a little south of Manchester. After that, you're good to go. 55 still looks good down south. You do have traffic at a slower pace, though, from the Union Road overpass that runs all the way up to Holly Hills, Lindbergh, at Conway, and at Old St. Charles. They're reporting a signal issue, so be advised of that. Southbound 61, seeing some heavy traffic at Highway P about midway down to Westfield Parkway. It's a little slow at the 64 crossover, and then 64 between Prospect and Lake St. Louis Boulevard is kind of busy. And they're still working that injury crash, Lindbergh and Missouri Bottom. Westbound 64 a little heavy at the Poplar as well. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Retirement shouldn't feel like balancing your checkbook while blindfolded. I'm Gary Goldberg, and my team helps you see the big picture so you can retire younger, richer, and with less anxiety. Because guessing is not a strategy. Tune in to Wealth and Wisdom with Gary Goldberg Saturday mornings at 7 here on KMOX.
It is 6:41. Time for us to check in with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg, and I guess we should enjoy the weather we have now.
Yeah, I mean, it's not warm right now. We're in the teens, Debbie, but it is going to moderate past 40 this afternoon and be above 40 for a time tomorrow. But then more cold air comes in, and this weekend, it's probably going to be even colder than it is right now across the area. For today, we're going to see clouds, a little bit of sun this morning, then the breeze picks up when we get more sunshine this afternoon, and that'll send us up to 42. Clouds increase tonight. It remains breezy, lows near freezing. Breezy tomorrow, clouds give way to sun, about 44. Some sunshine on Thursday, the high 38, and then the bottom drops out on Friday. Cloudy, breezy, bitterly cold, mid-teens. There could be some snow at some point Saturday or Saturday night. Temperatures again staying in the teens. 17 at St. Peter's and in Florissant, partly cloudy, and 18 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
I'm Joe Pott. The Blues have made a coaching change at their AHL level. We'll tell you all about that coming up in sports.
It is 6:43. It's going to be a bumpy ride on Wall Street today. Stock futures are tumbling after President Trump's latest tariff announcement. We get more from CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
Over the long holiday weekend in the U.S., President Trump posted on social media that 10% tariffs would go into effect on February 1st on goods sent to the U.S. from Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, and Finland. Those tariffs would increase to 25% on June 1st and remain in place until a deal is reached for what the president called, quote, the complete and total purchase of Greenland.
California Governor Gavin Newsom says it's time for European leaders to stand united against President Trump's threat to take over Greenland and his new tariffs against those 8 NATO members who don't support it. At the World Economic Forum in Davos, Newsom told reporters Europe needs to stand united and have a backbone.
Well, this is diplomacy with Donald Trump. He's a T-Rex. You mate with him or he devours you. One or the other.
The Department of Homeland Security's operation in Minnesota, its biggest ever, is expected to grow even bigger.
While these protests are not as widespread as those for George Floyd, the issue is still felt deeply within the community.
A lot of the things that people are doing are walking people who are going home from their jobs and don't feel safe going home. They're walking them to their cars. There are people out there delivering food to people who don't feel safe going to the grocery store.
Ian Lee, CBS News, St. Paul, Minnesota.
Parents are more confused than ever after the Trump administration changed childhood vaccine schedule. CBS's Stacey Lynch.
Pediatricians across the country say parents are increasingly anxious and confused after the overhaul. Doctors tell the Washington Post families are asking whether shots will still be available, safe, and covered by insurance. Most doctors say they're sticking with the recommendations from the American Academy of Pediatrics, but the extra time they're spending reassuring parents leaves less time to discuss other basics of child health.
Dangerous weather conditions are moving from the Midwest into the Northeast, and the freezing conditions go all the way down into parts of Florida. We get something here from CBS News national weather correspondent Rob Marciano.
More is coming from our friends in Canada, driving down across the Northern Plains Thursday, Friday. This one settles in well below normal temperatures into the Mid-South, and we've got a little system that's going to break through the ridge in the west, and that will tap some moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. Those two combinations is not a good thing here. We're looking for an icy mix from Dallas to Memphis.
Well, some Blues news not directly related to the big team as the team continues its road trip in Winnipeg. There's a shakeup with the coaching staff, but it has to do with the AHL affiliate in Springfield. The Blues have relieved the former head coach, Steve Konowalchuk, of his duties, and they have assigned Steve Ott as the head coach now for the Springfield Thunderbirds, the AHL affiliate of the Blues. Ott, of course, has been an assistant coach for a while with the Blues, 9 seasons, in fact, behind the Blues bench as an assistant coach. First joined the team in 2017. He's helped the Blues to a .350, .244, and .74 regular season record, 4 playoff appearances, and, of course, on staff for the 2019 Stanley Cup Championship. As a player, Ott enjoyed a 14-year NHL career. That included 122 games with the Blues from 2014 to 2016. Blues head coach Jim Montgomery talked after practice yesterday about Ott leaving for Springfield.
Well, one for Steve Ott. He's an extremely talented coach. Players love him. Staff loves him. And, you have to have a head coaching experience to be able to get a head coaching job in the NHL. It helps. And this is the opportunity he's going to get, go down to Springfield and work in the second best league in the world.
He was asked what the impact is to the Blues.
Well, for us, how it impacts us is, I'm going to take over the power play initially until, probably until break for sure. And then what it does is it means that our communication levels, when you have a smaller staff, they increase. You have to make sure we're dialing in about everything because everybody has to do a little bit more, which is good.
Monty was asked what he said to Steve Ott.
I told him he's going to be a great head coach. He's got all the qualities. He's got all the confidence in the world. And he's going to love it. Every day you make the final decision. And he's an alpha type, and he's going to love it. He's going to go down there. I know he's going to do a great job. He's going to really help develop our prospects. And for himself, his personal growth in these next 3 months is going to be extreme for him in an extremely positive way.
7 o'clock puck drop tonight for the Blues in Winnipeg. A note from St. Louis City. They have made official the permanent loan of Konrad Wallum from SK Slavia Prague. He came to the club last season on loan, made 32 appearances, scored a goal, and added 4 assists. His deal is a 3.5-year agreement. It runs through June 30th, 2029. Next sports update is 7:15. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Granger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
Hey, Cardinal Cowboy here. Who would have thought a car crash would have led to charities, TV shows, and cheering with the best fans in the world? I'm thankful for every day. And so are my friends at Renner Garage Door. They've been turning garage doors from zero to hero since 1966. With help from trusted brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, honest family-style service you can count on. So giddy up and get your free repair or replacement quote today. Giddy up!
RENNER, RENNER.
Start your engine, St. Louis. The St. Louis Auto Show is back, and it's bigger, faster, and more exciting than ever. See the latest cars, trucks, SUVs, and electric vehicles, all at the America Center January 22nd through 25th. From cutting-edge technology to luxury rides and family favorites, this is the ultimate auto experience. Whether you consider yourself a car enthusiast or not, this event has something for everyone. More information at kmox.com/events.
Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Let's get an update on the roads from Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, southbound 170 at Scudder sounds like we have an incident, Scott. This traffic reports the service of the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. I can't see it right now. I don't see any delays. That's a good thing I can pass along to you. We do have delays on northbound 270. Tesson Ferry most of the way to Gravois, 44 most of the way to Manchester. We had either a stall or a crash at Manchester that was quickly cleared. Southbound 61, slow stuff from Wentzville Parkway to 64, and 64 is a little busy at Lake St. Louis Boulevard. After that, though, you're good to go. Northbound 55 looks straight down south. It is backed up from the Union Road overpass through Bayless and then slow up past Virginia after that. Downtown westbound 64, just a little slow down on the Poplar Street Bridge. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. We're partners committed to you, your business, and your community. From family law to litigation, we're ready to serve. Visit sandbergphoenix.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
What is it going to be like weather-wise? Well, it's going to be not bad today. A very cold start to the day, but with some sunshine warming up to 42. Tomorrow, 44, 38 on Thursday before we get back to really, really frigid temperatures for Friday and Saturday. Currently, we've got, 13 degrees with partly cloudy skies.
The news continues at 6:52. A Missouri historian says the most significant civil rights protest in the state's history was the Jefferson Bank protest. Former State Historical Society Director Gary Kramer says 2 days after Martin Luther King Jr.'s famous March on Washington protest was Missouri's own version.
The protest was a protest against the fact that the Jefferson Bank would not hire African Americans in teller positions or indeed in any jobs other than simply janitorial workers.
Kramer says Jefferson Bank strongly resisted the effort for 7 months. Then the bank caved and began to hire African American tellers. He says several protesters spent jail time that was more in line with bank robbers, not bank protesters.
The Illinois State Comptroller spoke at a Martin Luther King Day breakfast in the Chicago area.
Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. believed, like all of us do here today, that we build a more just society when we recognize the shared humanity within each and every one of us. And we show up in the service of that humanity long after the cameras have been turned off.
Susanna Mendoza was a guest of the Rainbow Push Coalition.
A new report looks at what concerns young people the most. KCBS's Kathy Whitman says it sheds a light on their fears and hopes for the future.
It's called the Values Report, and UCLA professor Yalda T. Uls
leads a yearly survey on what young people feel is important in their lives.
We asked 1,500 young people from across the country between the ages of 10 to 24 to rate the importance of 14 priorities.
And their top concern,
they rated to be safe as number one.
Safety to them means things like not worrying about school shootings, economic safety, political stability, and climate change, things they hear about online or in the news.
On TikTok and many other places in a way that previous generations didn't.
Kindness and acceptance rank among the top values, with having a lot of fun right behind.
It's important if people pay attention to the world that young people are growing up in and what we're communicating to them.
Kathy Whitman, KCBS.
Unfortunately, you cannot train your Chat GPT bot to not show you ads. After all, OpenAI has to make money somehow. So starting in a week or two, they'll be tinkering with ads inside the app. OpenAI promising they won't allow advertisers to influence responses. But let's say you ask it to plan you a trip in New York. After you get your answer, you'll probably start seeing pop-up ads for hotels there. All right. I haven't asked it to plan me a trip yet, but I guess that's in the future, folks. It's 6:55.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement. It's your birthday.
Today's KMOX birthday shout out is sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned, top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. Today's January 20th birthdays include Paul Stanley of KISS, who is 74. Fun fact, his middle name is Harvey. So that's Paul Harvey Stanley.
And that
Bill Maher is 70.
is the rest of the story.
Hang on. Exactly. And one more.
How would I describe myself? 3 words. Hardworking, alpha male, jackhammer, merciless, insatiable.
Rainn Wilson, of course, who played Dwight Schrute, is 60.
Local celebrity birthdays include Lucas Hart from Mary, Lynn Berg celebrating today. So is Brian Hall, Diane Berrien Keener from the Game Nighters, and Nicholas Blessing. Happy birthday from Mom, Dad, James, and Michael.
This is the best birthday ever.
Hey, let's talk for just a minute about your home. If you've been thinking about selling it, or maybe you've been trying to sell it and you haven't had much luck, or maybe offers that were much less than you'd hoped, might be a great time to call Gloria Liu. Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. You probably know a few realtors, and if you're just getting ready to sell your home, you're thinking, well, it'll just be easy to go with this person who was recommended by this person. That's fine, but will it work? Because selling a home today, really, to do it well, takes a lot more than putting a sign in the yard and then hoping for the best. Gloria Liu sells hundreds of homes a year because Gloria has the buyers, and she is so confident that she'll sell your home no matter what the market does, that she will guarantee upfront and in writing to sell your home at 100% of market value, or she'll pay you the difference. Your home will be sold, guaranteed. Call 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or you can go online right now at gloriahasthebuyers.com.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
Don't miss Mosby Building Arts Home Improvement Show, Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX. One of the last call-in shows where you can get live answers to your remodeling, design, and construction questions. Tune in Saturdays at 11 a.m.
Hey, St. Louis City SC fans, mark your calendars now. The Boys in Red return to Energizer Park to kick off Season 4 Saturday, February 21st. And you could be there for the dawn of a new golden era of St. Louis soccer. Go to stlcitysc.com/tickets and reserve your seat now for the MLS home opener versus Charlotte FC. Limited quantities remain. See you soon, St. Louis. At Gray Bar, we know your time is money. That's why our services go beyond parts and products. With kitting, pre-assembly, wire carts, and Gray Bar smart reels that keep you moving. We stage materials and manage logistics so you can spend less time sorting and more time installing. And with locations nationwide, we deliver when and where you need it, working to make your job easier every step of the way. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
Let's get you caught up on the roadways with Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Look at some issues on Lindbergh, Debbie. I mentioned the earlier injury crash. They're trying to wrap up Lindbergh at Missouri Bottom, Lindbergh at Old St. Charles, which is near Northwest Plaza, and Lindbergh at Conway. They were reporting signal problems at those locations. Northbound 270 north of Gravois, all the way up to Manchester is busy. We had an earlier crash there. It's gone, though, thankfully. Northbound 55 Bayless, all the way up through Holly Hills is heavy. Southbound 61, just a little slow at 64, but 64 doesn't look bad out west. Either does eastbound 70, and westbound 64 for the time being is cleared out of the Poplar. Next update at 7:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is Tuesday, January 20th. Good morning. I'm Scott Jagow.
I'm Sean Malone. Paul McKee's attorneys respond to accusations from the city. I've got that story coming up.
I'm Debbie Monterrey.
Joe Buck gets ratioed when he tweets about the St. Louis airport. I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. After a bitterly cold start to the day, clouds and some sunshine are becoming breezy and a bit warmer this afternoon with a high up to 42.
I'm Joe Pott. Indiana is college football's national champion. The Blues and the Billikens in action tonight. Details on all coming up in sports.
And CBS News is coming up. President Trump turning up the heat over Greenland at the Tone. It's 7 o'clock.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. The voice of St. Louis.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. President Trump's new tariff threat is straining relations with European leaders gathering at the World Economic Forum in Davos.
Trump says he will raise tariffs by 10% on European nations that oppose a sale of Greenland to the U.S. At the World Economic Forum in Davos, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen says Europe may have to turn away from the U.S. and focus on economic cooperation with Asia.
It is time to seize this opportunity and build a new independent Europe.
U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent.
What I'm urging everyone here to do is sit back, take a deep breath, and let things play out.
Michael Wallace, CBS News.
The president set to arrive in Davos tomorrow. As his threats royal futures markets, business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
Many believe that emotions will simmer down and cooler heads will prevail, as a tariff war between Europe and the United States would be catastrophic for Europe and would also put a dent in U.S. growth for 2026.
Dow futures are down 595. A major snowstorm is slamming the northern part of the U.S. CBS meteorologist Rob Marciano.
All right, we've got the Lake Effect snow band down to the south of Buffalo. Now, 18 inches of snow already recorded in some spots here north of Syracuse towards Watertown. It is really coming down across I-81, and winter storm warnings also posted for parts of Michigan.
Blizzard-like conditions triggered a massive 100-car and truck pileup in western Michigan. Bitter cold is blanketing the country as well. Wind chills hit negative 40 in the northern tier and dipped into the 20s in Florida. A manhunt continues in central Indiana for the gunman who shot a judge and his wife inside their home. CBS's Matt Gutman.
There was a knock on the door. Someone advised, we have your dog, and then a shot came through the door.
When police responded, they found a shotgun shell on the front porch, and Superior Court Judge Stephen Meyer and his wife Kimberly both with gunshot wounds. He was shot in the arm. She was shot in the hip. Both are now in stable condition. It happened in the city of Lafayette, about an hour north of Indianapolis.
A fairy tale season ends with a national championship on ESPN.
A century of futility is forgotten. The Indiana Hoosiers are the kings of college football.
Indiana fans celebrating after the Hoosiers won their first ever national championship, beating the Hurricanes 27-21 in Miami. CBS's Mike Cunha.
This was an incredible game. It went all the way down to the wire. Fernando Mendoza, the Miami kid, the Heisman Trophy winner, had some big plays in this game. He ends up delivering for his team tonight.
NAS futures down 422. This is CBS News.
Real crimes, real justice. Follow and listen to 48 Hours on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay, things people love.
This new year, get started on your next success with University of Maryland Global Campus. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start February 11th. An accredited state university, UMGC offers online and hybrid classes while giving you a head start on 2026. Earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by
At 7:04, it is clear. We have 17 degrees downtown at the Gateway Arch. It is Tuesday, January 20th. Good morning. I'm Scott Jagow.
And I'm Debbie Monterrey. Did you hear the windows rattling overnight? AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
A magnitude 3.5 earthquake struck the central Illinois area near Olman at about 1:30 this morning. That quake was felt over a fairly wide area, including the St. Louis metro area, but at this point in time, there are no reports of damages.
According to the earthquake magnitude scale, anything with a magnitude between 2.5 and 5.4 is often felt, typically only causes minor damage. The one today falls in the minor category of quakes.
Developer Paul McKee's lawyers respond to a letter of accusations by the St. Louis Development Corporation.
McKee's attorney says the $116 million price tag to acquire Northside Regeneration's properties is not a random number, but comes from an appraisal done on the properties to assess the impact NGA's development has on their value. He adds no offers were exchanged because the city refused to do so. McKee's attorney says the city has valued the properties at around $20 million, saying the city appears to take the position the NGA headquarters has reduced the value of the properties. He also pushes back on the allegations Northside Regeneration misused tax credits, saying they settled with the state without any finding of culpability. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Rumors of a sale often follow payroll cuts, but St. Louis Cardinals chairman Bill DeWitt Jr. is shutting that down. He says the plan is to keep the Cardinals under the DeWitt banner for the long haul. He cites his family's century-long history in professional baseball.
We're, baseball people and third generation here and probably fourth underneath him coming along somewhere. So, we're here.
The DeWitt-led investment group purchased the Cardinals from Anheuser-Busch 30 years ago for $150 million.
U.S. Steel CEO David Burritt says the restart of the blast furnace in Granite City is being driven by the market, not politics. In an interview with CBS, he lists the Metro East facility alongside major capital projects in Minnesota and Arkansas, noting the company simply needs more steel.
In Arkansas, we're putting in a DRI facility, and in Alabama, we're also investing there with premium connections for the oil business. And we just opened up a blast furnace in Illinois near Granite City.
Burritt says the furnace is helping fill orders for the auto and appliance industries.
From the business desk, sponsored by Krenz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com. Construction has begun on luxury apartments in Wildwood. Wildwood Luxury Living is a mixed-use project of 188 apartments with retail and commercial space being built in Wildwood Town Center. The cost of the project has risen $5 million over the past year to more than $57 million, according to the Business Journal, due to price increases and tariffs.
Coming up in just a moment, we'll have traffic and weather together. Excuse me, it is 7:07.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here for FanDuel Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of KMOX, my official sportsbook as well. And they have turned on playoff mode. All customers of FanDuel can get a profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. So each game day during the championship round, you'll find a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts waiting for you right there in the app. And more boosts just means more ways to level up your playoff bets. So pick the matchups you believe in if you like winner or loser or just the point spreads. Maybe take a shot on an upset. I'm actually looking at the under in a couple of opportunities this week. You can build a parlay that fits the moment. However you want to do it, it's up to you. And then you apply your profit boosts and go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs continue to roll. So visit FanDuel.com/Missouri and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. Remember, 21 or older and present in Missouri to play. Opt-in is required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost token, and restrictions apply, including any token expiration or max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Poplar.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-390-1164. 800-390-1164. 800-390-1164.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It is 7:09. Let's get you caught up on traffic and weather. And Roger Brand is keeping his eyes on things on this cold morning from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, I can't quite see it. I mean, I see the flashing lights out there, but I mentioned earlier we had an incident reported south 170 at Scudder. Turns out it's an overturned tractor trailer. I believe it's on the exit ramp. That's a cloverleaf ramp to Scudder. I can see the MoDOT trucks in the right lane blocking that exit lane, but the through lanes are open, and traffic's still on the go. I don't see any delays through there right now, but that is out there, and it may be a while. Obviously, overturned semis are never something they can very easily clear quickly. Northbound Highway 270, you've got a slowdown through Gravois, and then from 44 up to Manchester, a little busy approaching Ladue after that. Eastbound 64, a little slowdown between Prospect and Lake St. Louis Boulevard. K through 94 looks a little busy right now as well, but after that, you're in good shape. Northbound 55 is pretty well cleared out. There's just barely a slowdown. Weber Road up to River to Pear, and that's about the worst of it there. If you're on downtown runs to the Poplar, westbound, we had some heavy traffic on it, but for now it's thinned out. Muso Veterans Bridge has been clear for you all morning long. They should have that accident, that crash wrapped up Lindbergh at Missouri Bottom. I'm not seeing the short jams that we had there earlier. We did have signal problems reported on Lindbergh at Conway and at Old St. Charles over near Northwest Plaza, though. Next update at 7:20 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, a frigid start to our Tuesday with clouds and some sun, more sunshine, breezy, and not so cold this afternoon as we rebound to 42. Increasing clouds tonight and breezy, though 32. Tomorrow, breezy as clouds give way to sunshine, the high 44. Thursday, sunshine filtered through high clouds, the high temperature 38. Much colder Friday and Saturday. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Thank you, Joe. Right now in St. Peter's, we have 16 degrees. It's 20 in Florissant, 17 downtown at the Arch.
I've got highlights from Indiana's national championship win coming up in sports.
It is now 7:11. The Missouri Highway Patrol says an 8-year-old boy and 64-year-old man had to be airlifted from the scene of a crash Sunday afternoon in Lincoln County. It happened near New Hartford. Troopers say the Middletown residents were both in a minivan that was struck in the side by an SUV. 4 people were injured in that accident.
New security gates being built at Metrolink stations will be useless without software that can verify a ticket instantly. We've seen this with the gates being largely left open lately. Bi-State Development's Talby Roche says, has set a strict deadline for the technology to catch up the physical construction.
We're looking at having that project completely integrated within the spring of this year. So I think June will be the target date. We're looking at having that project completely integrated within the spring of this year.
The integration is the final hurdle before the agency can close the gates and begin the closed system era of transit in St. Louis.
The new owners of the Grafton Ferry say the service isn't just for tourists anymore. The Southwest Illinois City is taking over the operation this spring and plans to run the boat 7 days a week. Mayor Mike Morrow says the consistent schedule will open the door for workers who need to cross the river every day.
It's also going to give us the opportunity to build a steady people that want to commute instead of taking the large way around.
City officials say they plan to offer discounted weekly passes for regular commuters.
A Missouri lawmaker wants to change how the state handles mental health crises. Republican Representative Tricia Burns of St. Charles County is pushing a bill that would let families seek help earlier and ensure treatment happens in clinical settings, not behind bars.
Burns says she has heard pushback from some people who say someone should not have to undergo medical treatment without their permission.
And that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. We do it every day. If somebody's in a car accident and they're unconscious, we save the person. But when somebody cannot help them at all, we say, well, it doesn't matter if they're in psychosis. They're choosing to not get help. They're choosing to sleep on the streets frozen. We're just going to look away.
Burns says the bill makes clear that treatment should happen in a clinical setting under court supervision, not as a condition of incarceration.
A St. Louis man is behind bars after stabbing another man over a stuffed animal. 48-year-old Antoine Baldwin is charged after allegedly asking for a teddy bear from a person outside St. Patrick's Center downtown before stabbing the person and stealing it. Baldwin's on probation for burglary and stealing charges. He's currently being held without bond.
If you're looking for something to do on a cold morning, Johnny Rabbit is giving a presentation on St. Louis during World Wars I and II. He'll also be showing a World War II movie that was filmed in 1944 at the Fox Theater. It's a free event from Oasis at the Clayton Rec Center. It starts this morning at 10 o'clock.
Indiana capped off its perfect season last night with its first national championship. The Hoosiers down the Miami Hurricanes 27-21 last night in Miami. The first half, mostly Indiana, looked like it could be a defensive battle. Hoosiers were just up 10-0 at the break, but things shifted after halftime. Miami got on the board in the third before Indiana answered with a blocked punt for a touchdown. Miami opened the fourth quarter with a touchdown to trim the Indiana lead back to 17-14, and now it's Indiana driving on the 12, and the Heisman Trophy winner takes it himself.
Got to get to the 8. He's going to take off and run. Mendoza weaves his way first and go diving toward the end zone. Touchdown! That's why he won the Heisman Trophy.
That's Chris Fowler on ESPN. Fernando Mendoza runs it in. It's a 10-point game, 24-14. Before Miami quarterback Carson Beck connects with Malachi Toney for a 22-yard strike. That cut the lead back to 24-21 with 6.5 remaining in the fourth. Indiana able to stretch the lead once more with a field goal, but there was still time for Miami. Less than a minute to play. Miami driving on first down from the 41.
Beck steps up, delivers downfield, intercepted! Jamari Sharp makes the pick. That will clinch Indiana's first national championship.
Sharp's interception seals the deal for the Hoosiers, secures the program's first national title, and caps an unblemished 16-0 season. Mendoza completed 16 of 27 passes. He threw for 186 yards, did not throw a touchdown, but did not throw an interception. He added a rushing touchdown. Carson Beck was 19 of 32 for Miami, 232 yards. He did throw a touchdown, but also the interception. Mark Fletcher ran for 112 yards and 2 scores for the Hurricanes. Head coach Curt Cignetti is now 27-2 in 2 seasons with Indiana.
Let me tell you, we won the national championship at Indiana University. It can be done, and I'm so happy for our fans. Words can't describe it.
That is Cignetti on ESPN following the game last night. The Blues are on the road tonight in Winnipeg, and Winnipeg is the only team in the Central Division with fewer points than the Blues. The Blues start the night with 46. The Jets start the night with 44. The puck drops tonight at 7 o'clock in Winnipeg. We'll hear from head coach Jim Montgomery coming up at 7:45. He's got news about a coaching shift, too, on the staff. St. Louis University Billikens, they take the floor tonight as a ranked team for the first time since the 2020-21 season. The 17-1 Billikens are in Pittsburgh to face Duquesne. They're ranked 24th in the AP poll, 23 in the coaches poll. Tip-off tonight is 6 o'clock against Duquesne. Pregame here on KMOX comes up at 5:45 with Bob Ramsey and Earl Austin Jr. on the call. Our next sports update comes up at 7:45. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Hey, Happy New Year, big boy. Hey, what's up, Izzy? Also known as the Kool-Aid Man.
You got any New Year's resolutions?
I got one, Eddie. I've promised myself to spend more time on that toasty, warm, huge, heated outdoor patio of yours. It's nothing like having your coat off, drinking the coldest beer in town with hundreds of your family, friends.
Man, it is a toasted patio, and that's a great resolution. And, thanks for not mentioning things like weight loss and health kick. And those would be hard in Fast Eddie's. It'd be hard to lose any kind of weight or take away from anything when you got the 5-pound Fat Eddie burger, the hot chick on a stick, that big Elwood on a stick, and those succulent peel-and-eat shrimp.
Yeah, I am not losing any weight hanging around your place. I learned it's a lot easier just to make those resolutions simple and fun, buddy.
Man, and that's easy. You're right. That's a great resolution. So make your resolution fun. And head on over to Fast Eddie's Bon Air. You know where to go across that big, beautiful Clark Bridge and come into Alton, Illinois. So like Mr. Shannon always said, if you're 21 and in the mood, we'll see you at Fast Eddie's Bon Air.
Kool-Aid Man.
Hey, this is Charlie Brennan, along with Dr. Colleen Bosler and Dr. Adam Voss at the Audiology Center. When was the last time you really enjoyed a conversation without straining to hear?
Charlie, so many people think hearing aids just make things louder.
But that's old technology. Today's hearing aids do so much more.
Exactly. With the dual chip technology, our hearing aids actually separate the speech from the background noise.
Which means at a noisy restaurant, you'll hear your friends and family, not the clinking dishes.
And the best part, your brain doesn't have to work overtime trying to fill in the blanks.
So that keeps your mind sharp, your conversations easy, and your relationships stronger.
Because hearing well isn't just about sound, it's about staying connected.
Thanks, Doctor. Call the Audiology Center today to schedule your annual hearing evaluation. Don't miss another moment. Call 636-441-7470 or visit the audiologycenterstl.com.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
At 7:20, an update on Tuesday morning's commute from Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we've got this incident, Scott, on southbound 170 at Scudder, an overturned tractor trailer at the exit. The exit's closed. Starting to see a jam back pretty close to Airport Road, and that's probably where you want to get off the highway, is at Airport Road if you can, and either cut over Airport Road to Hanley to the east of you or go west over to McDonald Boulevard, depending on what you would normally access from Scudder. But again, this closure probably will be out there through the rest of the rush hour, maybe a little bit longer than that. Is a fully loaded tractor trailer with, I believe, meat or beef, something like that. But doesn't really matter, so they'll have to probably offload it before they can remove it. Northbound Highway 55, you got heavy traffic from the Union Road overpass up to River to Bear. A little busy up past Holly Hills as well. North 270, 55 up through Gravois, 44 to Manchester, Clayton Road to Ladue. That's all busy. South 270, south of Old to Ladue, a little slow. Southbound 61 crossing over onto 64 to Prospect is heavy. We have a crash at 94. It's backed up to Highway K now. After that, it's fine. Westbound 64, Big Bend, Hanley area a little busy. Downtown, we're still okay. Westbound across the Poplar and Musewell Veterans Bridges. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
All right, weather-wise, it's going to be a cold start to the morning, but we should warm up to about 42 degrees with some more sunshine this afternoon. 44 tomorrow, 38 on Thursday, and then it gets really cold for Friday and Saturday when we're going to have highs of just 15 degrees. We're almost there now. It's 13 in downtown St. Louis.
The news continues at 7:22. The Cards remain in limbo for who gets TV rights to broadcast the games this upcoming season. Team president Bill DeWitt III said at the winter warm-up over the weekend that staying with FanDuel on renegotiated terms remains an option, as does making a change to MLB Media. He says both potential partners would like to increase distribution.
YouTube TV comes to mind as an example of one you'd love to be on if they can work out an arrangement. I mean, we're a step removed from those kinds of negotiations, but we're rooting for whoever we're with to get increased distribution and onto different distribution platforms.
He says fans shouldn't worry about losing access to games this upcoming season. They may just need to tune in to a different channel to find them.
In today's CBS On the Road feature, Steve Hartman visits Nashville to learn about a distinguished canine.
At this glitzy award show, a hero was honored.
This award belongs to Sergeant Bo.
Sergeant Bo, the dog, belongs to Faye Okert, a now retired Nashville police officer. Bo is not one of those highly trained police dogs. And yet, last week, he was awarded the American Humane Society Hero Dog of the Year.
I never, ever would have dreamed that Scruffy Mutt would have such an impact.
So what did he do?
He'll lay here and go to sleep.
Well, it wasn't a rescue, that's for sure. At least, not in the literal sense.
Moments of terror this morning at the Covenant School.
Back in 2023, a gunman murdered 3 children and 3 adults at this Christian elementary school. And one of the first on scene to comfort the kids was this therapy dog.
Let's go.
He took the attention away from what was going on, and he was amazing.
Sergeant Bo and some other dogs from a group called Comfort Connections visited the Covenant School the week of the shooting and continue to visit to this very day. Because, by all accounts, the results are remarkable.
Oh, yes.
These kids are some of the survivors.
Did everybody fear going back to school?
Yeah.
I just didn't feel safe.
Yeah.
And then when I had the dogs, it just felt more like better for me. Yeah.
It's like I could just see them or like pet them or something, and they would just like calm me down immediately.
And that's the thing. The kids say it's not like the dogs do anything. They say they just have this way, no matter what the breed, no matter how deep your pain.
They were a comforting presence in a time that like I needed it, like badly.
Eleanor Dickhouse lost her little sister Evelyn in the shooting. Evelyn was 9. Afterward, Eleanor says she struggled to cry in front of people, to let her emotions out, but not with the dogs.
They can take your tears, and sometimes like the greatest form of hope can come from a dog that just sits there and lets you pet them.
So, congratulations and thanks to Sergeant Bo and the others for showing us that when there are no words you can say to help, sometimes it helps to have no words. Steve Hartman on the road in Nashville.
The Illinois Sheriff's Association is warning of sweetheart scams as we inch closer to Valentine's Day. We get more from WBBM's Haley Hansen.
Sweetheart scammers target individuals seeking companionship and connection by exploiting emotions, trust, and loneliness for financial gain. The Illinois Sheriff's Association says seniors are often targeted, and they should be cautious if a new romantic interest refuses to meet in person or avoids video calls, quickly expresses strong interests, or, of course, asks for money. Anyone who believes they may be the target of a scam can report it to local police and the Federal Trade Commission. Haley Hansen, News Radio 1059 WBBM.
One of the largest measles outbreaks in the United States has been linked to new cases on the other side of the country.
Health officials in Washington state confirm an outbreak connected to a contagious family traveling from South Carolina. That's where there's been a major outbreak of the highly contagious viral disease, with a recent 30% surge and more than 550 cases so far. The 3 measles cases in Washington are all among unvaccinated children just north of Seattle. Local officials are now trying to contain it. Last year was the nation's worst for the spread of measles in the U.S. since 1991, the CDC reporting more than 2,000 cases. Steve Kathan, CBS News.
The time is 7:27, and your time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
New tax resolution firms are popping up every day with high-paid celebrity endorsers, advertising ridiculous claims in their TV ads. That's why they have the tiny, unreadable disclaimers at the bottom of the screen. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. Our ads never have those ridiculous, fast-talking, tiny disclaimers at the end because, simply put, there are no guarantees when it comes to the IRS and wiping out tax bills. And we don't make promises we can't keep. Of course, there are ways the Lance Drury Law Firm can help resolve your tax debt, but no company can guarantee it will eliminate it. This is why their clients call the Lance Drury Law Firm when those promises don't pan out. If you have tax problems, you have legal problems. Call me, Lance Drury in St. Louis at 314-260-6120 or visit Lance, DRURY law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
I dared Archwell Health to keep track of my vitals and my grandkids' names.
I dared Archwell Health to simplify my prescriptions, so Max and I have more time to play. Good boy.
And I dared Archwell Health to be closer than my neighborhood coffee shop.
Our members dared us to do more as a primary care provider for adults age 60 and up. So we made it our mission. Visit archwellhealth.com and become a member today. Archwell Health. We dare to care.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from
we can be twinsies
to
how was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom.
Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
Okay, I don't want to be mean, but if you're a guy and you just have a grimy, multiple times refilled bottle of Dial that's got the crusty soap on the outside, that's a red flag.
What if you just have a bar of Dial soap with no soap dish?
I never like the bar of soap.
What if you have one bar of soap and you take it from the shower to the sink, back to the shower? How would you feel good about going to that guy's house?
Oh my gosh, I think I would just leave without saying anything.
Chris Ranji, Amy Mark Scores. Weekdays at 9 on KMOX.
At 7:30, we have a few clouds. It is 15 degrees downtown at the Gateway Arch. Good morning. I'm Scott Jagow.
I'm Debbie Monterrey. Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, if you're coming down the Interbelt this morning, southbound 170, look for delays coming down toward Scudder. It's jammed, actually, back through Airport Road. The Scudder exit is closed on South 170 due to an overturned semi there, so you're going to want to bail out before that and get off at Airport Road and cut over to Hanley or cut over to McDonald Boulevard, depending on where you normally would get to from Scudder. So just keep that in mind on southbound 170. After you clear that spot, it's a good run all the way down to 64. Westbound 64, Hampton to Big Bend's heavy. Eastbound's a little slow at the Interbelt. Out to the west, we've got trouble. I mentioned that crash, eastbound 64 at 94. It's just before 94, just a little west of the overpass. Left lane's blocked, so traffic is jammed west of Highway K on eastbound 64. Not quite midway back to Winghaven. It's not that bad, but pretty busy. North 270 backs up as you ramp on from 55, so the ramp is backed up. But once you hit 270, it's slow all the way up from 55 to Ladue. South 270 approaching Olive to Ladue. That's busy. Northbound 55, you got the usual delays from the Union Road overpass up across River to Pear, and more volume downtown for Illinois drivers. 64 from the 70 split to 3rd Street, and then busy again on the Poplar. Next update at 7:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Your weather forecast, it's going to be warmer the next couple of days before plummeting back down, but today's high around 42, more sunshine in the afternoon, and then we're down to 32 overnight. Mid-40s tomorrow, upper 30s on Thursday. Then it gets bitterly cold on Friday with just 15 for a high. It'll feel like 0, and snow possible on Saturday with a high of only 15. Right now in St. Peter's, it is 17 degrees, 21 in Florissant, 15 downtown at the Arch.
Belleville police are investigating a fatal Monday night shooting that resulted from a domestic dispute. Officers tell us a woman shot a man dead inside a home in the 600 block of State Street about 8:15. They are interviewing witnesses and have detained the woman who allegedly pulled the trigger. Police are calling this an isolated incident.
A dispute over a stuffed animal results in a stabbing and a man in jail.
According to charging documents, 48-year-old Antoine Baldwin of St. Louis approached the victim outside St. Patrick's Center and demanded their teddy bear. When the victim refused, Baldwin allegedly stabbed them, took the bear, and fled. Police found Baldwin with the bear, and he admitted to being in an altercation over it. Baldwin is facing charges of assault in the first, 2 counts of armed criminal action, and 1 count of robbery. He's being held without bond with prior convictions for assault and armed criminal action. He was also just released on probation at the end of 2025 on burglary and stealing charges. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
A Republican lawmaker from Sedalia is sponsoring legislation that would ban the sale of lab-grown meat in Missouri. State Representative Brad Pollitt was asked by MissouriNet if lab-grown meat qualifies as ultra-processed food, which the USDA is discouraging people from eating.
Some folks are nervous about what may go into our livestock through our health plans, through our livestock, whether that's chicken, poultry, sheep, cattle, but you're going to grow it in a dish or you're going to try to produce it in a lab somewhere, there's a whole lot more stuff that has to go in that in order to make it grow.
Similar House bills have been filed by other lawmakers about lab-grown meat, but no hearings have yet been scheduled.
When it comes to the best states for drivers, Missouri gets failing grades. In fact, according to Wallet Hub, the Show Me State is the 7th worst in the nation, although anecdotally, I would say it is dead last.
Well, according to these rankings, Missouri's worst ranking is for its rate of car theft, with bad grades for road quality and the rate of traffic fatalities. Missouri's best grade was for auto repair shops per capita. Apparently, we're 15th best in the nation for that. Illinois ranked right in the middle at 25th.
Boy, the drivers are bad in this state, though.
And getting worse, seemingly.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Your business report just ahead. It's 7:34.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
It is 7:35. This is Total Information AM, and it's time for your Money Report, which is sponsored this hour by Busey Bank.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. The standoff over Greenland is giving Wall Street a jolt this morning. Markets are waiting for Europe's response to President Trump's threat to impose tariffs on 8 European nations that oppose his push to take over Greenland. This is rattling the market, sending stock index futures tumbling. After the bell today, Netflix reports quarterly earnings. The chatter surrounding the streamer these days is all about its hefty bid for Warner Brothers Discovery. Investors have been concerned about Netflix's slowing flow of subscribers and the sustainability of its growth. And we're watching a deal in the biotech space. GlaxoSmithKline has agreed to buy Rap Therapeutics in a deal valued at $2.2 billion. California-based Rap develops treatments for patients with inflammatory and immunologic diseases. GSK has been doubling down on two key parts of its business, its oncology medicines and its immunology drugs. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
When a parent struggles with addiction or dies from a drug overdose, what happens to their children? Far too many end up in foster care, unable to ever return to their birth homes because it's simply not safe. The Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption is fighting the clock so that teens don't age out of foster care, leaving them at a higher risk of addiction and other negative outcomes that can happen to a child without the love and stability of a permanent family. Learn more at davethomasfoundation.org.
This is the run my own business dream. This is the college is paid for dream. This is the retire early dream. This is Busey, where your dreams and possibilities become moments. Through trusted guidance and expertise, through lifelong relationships. Because we're here to help you achieve the life you've always envisioned. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
Tom Ackerman here. Got to tell you, the best car dealership I've ever walked into is Genesis of St. Charles. They're located at 5601 Veterans Memorial Parkway. That is right off I-70 at Mid-Rivers Mall Drive. You are going to love the offerings at Genesis of St. Charles. Visit them online, genesisofstcharles.com. you're going to find the E-Price. When you unlock the E-Price, that upfront pricing, you're going to be very happy. No games, no gimmicks. They want your trade as well. They were willing to pay more for it on any new Genesis purchase. Don't wait. Now is the time to visit Genesis of St. Charles, your premier Genesis dealer, the number one Genesis dealer in the state of Missouri. You can buy online at genesisofstcharles.com, and you're going to be very happy when you walk into the dealership. It is spectacular. Genesis of St. Charles, genesisofstcharles.com.
SNL Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call SNL 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. SNL Coin.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
This is the Gas House Gang from KMOX.
Bernie Nicholas and the Gas House Gang, today at noon on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
It is now 7:39, and the news continues on KMOX. You can definitely tell what season it is as a blast of winter weather crosses the U.S.
Winter weather is affecting much of the United States. While many states have had a real cold stretch already, a strong Arctic cold will move across the northern plains, the Great Lakes, and the Midwest Thursday into Friday. Some of that Arctic air will be the coldest air of the season. Meteorologist Brian Jackson with the National Weather Service's Weather Prediction Center says that with all this cold air, there's low pressure coming in from California. That could mean winter storm impacts across the nation.
So we're expecting a broad area of snow, and then south of that should be a lot of sleet. South of that, a lot of freezing rain, and there should be some plain rain, but we'll see exactly where that sets up.
Precipitation could start as early as Friday.
Basically, the southern Rockies, across the southern plains, the mid-south, the southeast, the mid-Atlantic, possibly more of the northeastern seaboard. Friday through Sunday, we're expecting a major winter storm.
I'm Haya Panjwani.
We'll get your local weather forecast here in just a moment. First, let's check on the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still got our situation, Scott, on southbound 170 at Scudder. The Scudder exit closed, overturned semi there. Traffic's backed up to 270. You may want to get off at Airport Road instead to avoid that problem. Of course, you'll be stuck in traffic just getting there. Eastbound 70, TR Houston 79 is slow. Eastbound 70 jams approaching 370. There's a crash eastbound 70 at Cave Springs. Only the right lane is getting past that. Eastbound 64 slow. Prospect to Lake St. Louis Boulevard, but you're jammed midway from Winghaven to Highway K. There's a crash still in the left lane at 94. The right lane's blocked by a stall before the Boone Bridge. 64 is heavy around the inner belt. Westbound 64, Science Center out through McCausland's backed up. It's slow to Hanley. South 270, 364 to Ladou's heavy. North 270, north of 55 to Ladou is busy. North 55, you've got some slow traffic south of 67 at Highway Z. The right lane's at Butler Hill. All lanes jammed. Union Road all the way up through Loughborough. Westbound 64 pockets from the 70 split across the Poplar. Next update is 750 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
My best friend Jenny came over for coffee, said it's cold enough in here to play hockey. Well, my furnace broken, it's already late. Call Jerry Kelly because they're open till 8. JerryKelly.com. They're fast and they're good and they got it going on. Jerry Kelly.
7:42, time to check in with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg. What's the latest, Joe?
Well, the latest is that it's going to be cold over the next week across the area, the coldest of which will be Friday and Saturday and probably into Sunday across the area, when we may have an extended period of time with temperatures not getting to 20 degrees. That's today. The cold that we've got now will be easing. Temperatures starting out of the upper teens with some sunshine will rebound to about 42 this afternoon as the breeze picks up. And that breeze will hold temperatures up closer to freezing tonight under partly to mostly cloudy skies. Those clouds give way to sunshine tomorrow, mid-40s. But then the colder air starts bleeding into the area Thursday with some sunshine, the high 38. Second front drops through the area Thursday night, and it drops the hammer. Cloudy, breezy, cold on Friday, the high only in the mid-teens. And we may do that with some snow in the forecast for Saturday and Saturday night. Temperatures may get back to the 20s on Sunday. 17 at St. Peter's, and in Florissant, it's partly to mostly cloudy, and 18 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
I'm Joe Pott. Blues assistant Steve Ott is moving on, and we'll tell you what that opportunity is for him coming up in sports.
It is 7:43. President Trump will have Greenland on his mind when he leaves tonight for the international gathering in Davos, Switzerland. Here's Natalie Brand.
This growing standoff over Greenland comes as we've learned that military aircraft are set to arrive in Greenland for what's being described as long-planned activities by the North American Aerospace Defense Command, or NORAD. That's a joint U.S. and Canadian defense organization.
Democratic Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois says the Danish who control Greenland are our friends, and he wants to keep it that way.
This notion that the president of the United States is going to use force to take Greenland is an outrage. That would be the end of the NATO alliance, and that would bring instability and competition in this country and this world we don't need.
A new CBS News YouGov poll taken last week shows about 60% of Americans disapprove of the job President Trump is doing in his second term. About 40% approve. One of the major issues driving the nation is Trump's push of power against other countries, whether it be friend or longtime foe. Chief Washington correspondent Robert Costa has this take on Republicans in Congress going along with the latest Trump doctrine.
They are not fighting him in any real way at this point. They know President Trump navigates a lot of these questions on his own, will sometimes take a very, in the view of many, extreme position, only to negotiate to something that's a little bit more toward the center.
A pardoned January 6th rioter is set to go on trial, this time on child molestation charges.
44-year-old Andrew Johnson will be tried on child molestation charges February 9th. He was arrested last July, nearly 6 months after he and more than 1,500 Capitol attack defendants were pardoned by President Trump. Johnson is accused of molesting a victim for months in Hernando County, Florida. Johnson allegedly tried to silence the alleged victim in the case by offering a payout. A police affidavit alleged Johnson told the victim he had been pardoned for storming the Capitol and was being awarded $10 million as a result, money he would put in his will. Steve Kathan, CBS News.
Some Blues news not related to the team as it continues its road trip in Winnipeg. I guess not directly game related, that is. But assistant coach Steve Ott has been tasked with taking over the Blues AHL affiliate, the Springfield Thunderbirds. He will serve as head coach for the remainder of the season after the organization relieved Steve Konowalchuk of his duties. Ott is 42. He has 9 seasons behind the Blues bench. He first joined the team as an assistant in the summer of 2017, and he's helped the Blues compile a regular season record of 350 wins, 244 losses, and 74 ties. Also 4 playoff appearances, and of course, the 2019 Stanley Cup Championship. As a player, he played 14 years in the NHL. 122 games came with the Blues from 2014 to 2016. Head coach Jim Montgomery talked after practice yesterday about Ott going to Springfield.
Well, one for Steve Ott. He's an extremely talented coach. Players love him. Staff loves him. And, you have to have a head coaching experience to be able to get a head coaching job in the NHL. It helps. And this is the opportunity he's going to get, go down to Springfield and work in the second best league in the world.
Montgomery was asked how that impacts the Blues.
Well, for us, how it impacts us is, I'm going to take over the power play initially until, probably until break. For sure. And then what it does is it means that our communication levels, when you have a smaller staff, they increase. You have to make sure we're dialing in about everything because everybody has to do a little bit more, which is good.
And what did the Blues head coach say to his former assistant?
Well, I told him he's going to be a great head coach. He's got all the qualities. He's got all the confidence in the world. And he's going to love it. Every day you make the final decision. And he's an alpha type, and he's going to love it. He's going to go down there. I know he's going to do a great job. He's going to really help develop our prospects. And for himself, his personal growth in these next 3 months is going to be extreme for him in an extremely positive way.
Blues at Winnipeg tonight. That's a 7:00 puck drop. St. Louis City has made official the permanent loan of Konrad Wallum from SK Slavia Prague. He came to the club last season on a loan, made 32 appearances, scored a goal, and added 4 assists. He has signed a 3.5-year agreement with the club, and it runs through June 30th, 2029. Tonight on KMOX, it's St. Louis University basketball. It is a 5:45 pregame show, 6 o'clock tip as the 24th ranked Billikens take on Duquesne in Pittsburgh. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
KMOX, celebrating 100 years. Presented by Purina, your pet, our passion. Now, a KMOX pioneer.
From the moment he joined KMOX in 1946, Rex Davis became one of the most trusted and authoritative news voices in St. Louis. His commanding delivery and journalistic integrity helped define the station's identity for decades. His work on Total Information AM, alongside Bob Hardy, made it one of the most successful morning news programs in the nation. At its peak, heard by an astonishing 33% of the local radio audience.
This is Rex Davis. I'm asking you to join me for a special KMOX radio program in celebration of Independence Day, 1964.
But Rex also had a lighter side. His playful exchanges on the Jack Carney Show revealed the humor behind the headline voice listeners trusted. Rex Davis, a KMOX pioneer.
Hey, St. Louis City SC fans, mark your calendars now. The Boys in Red return to Energizer Park to kick off Season 4 Saturday, February 21st. And you could be there for the dawn of a new golden era of St. Louis soccer. Go to stlcitysc.com/tickets and reserve your seat now for the MLS home opener versus Charlotte FC. Limited quantities remain. See you soon, St. Louis.
Start your engine, St. Louis. The St. Louis Auto Show is back, and it's bigger, faster, and more exciting than ever. See the latest cars, trucks, SUVs, and electric vehicles, all at the America Center, January 22nd through 25th. From cutting-edge technology to luxury rides and family favorites, this is the ultimate auto experience. Whether you consider yourself a car enthusiast or not, this event has something for everyone. More information at KMOX.com/events.
Total Information AM. Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman on 104.1 FM KMOX.
At 7:50, Roger Brand checking the roads for us once again. Roger Brand, of course, in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still got a rough spots out there, Scott. Unfortunately, that overturned tractor trailer crash still is the exit to Scudder from South 170 shut down. South 170 is backed up to 270. You may want to bail out before you get to Scudder if you normally would exit at that point. Airport Road makes the most sense, I guess. Eastbound Highway 70 jammed, about midway between Mid Rivers and 370 up to the crash at Cave Springs. Only the right lane's getting by there. Eastbound 64 slow, Prospect to the Boulevard. It jams midway in from Winghaven to 94. That crash still in the left lane. Then the right lane's blocked by a stall before the Boone Bridge. A little delay there. A little heavy at Clarkson. 270 to Lindbergh, and at the Interbelt, westbound 64 Science Center headed out to Hanley's heavy, and midway between McKnight and Lindbergh out to Ballas looks slow. Southbound 270 Dorset down to Ladou's heavy. North 270 55 all the way up to Ladou is off the pace. Northbound 55 backed up Union Road up across the river to Pear. Westbound 64 downtown from the 70 split to the Poplar is pretty heavy right now as well. And if you're traveling South 170 south of Scudder, you've got heavy traffic. Delmar down to 64, and eastbound 70 Lucas Hunt in through Goodfellow looks busy. Next update is 7:58 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather-wise, it's a cold start to the day, but the next couple of days will be actually pretty nice for January until we get to the weekend. 42 today is what we're looking at with more sunshine. And then tomorrow, 44, 38 on Thursday. Currently in downtown St. Louis, it's cloudy and 14 degrees.
The news continues at 7:52. While fans focus on the 2026 roster, the Cardinals front office is looking at the potential labor war looming at the end of the season. President Bill DeWitt III says the widening gap between haves and have-nots is the single biggest threat to the sport's health.
Competitive balance is a huge issue. Obviously, probably commissioner's primary issue going into the agreement, and the ways in which you can achieve that are multiple.
DeWitt believes everybody has a vested interest in a system where more teams can realistically compete.
I mean, if you're a player on a team that has no chance, that's no fun either. So, and the fans are in that same boat.
And of course, teams like the Dodgers and Yankees are able to generate vastly more local revenue than clubs in the Midwest.
Rumors of a sale often follow payroll cuts, but St. Louis Cardinals chairman Bill DeWitt Jr. shutting that down, saying the plan is to keep the Cardinals under the DeWitt banner for the long haul. He cites his family's century-long history in professional baseball.
We're, baseball people and third generation here and probably fourth underneath him coming along somewhere. So, we're here.
The DeWitt-led investment group purchased the Cardinals from Anheuser-Busch 30 years ago for $150 million.
Missouri lawmakers are looking at a mental health bill called the Care Before Predictable Harm Act. It's sponsored by Republican Representative Trisha Burns from St. Charles County.
The measure would let families and professionals seek treatment sooner before someone becomes in imminent danger by using a predictable harm standard instead. Burns says a lot of people don't realize that prison is the place that provides mental health care now, that they don't have mental health hospitals.
There's no way to contain them. Sometimes they'll say, well, we don't know if it's really a mental health thing or if it's a severe drug abuse substance issue. Well, you can't make them go to a rehab center. So you end up in this loop. And so families either get stuck having to be the warden, the nurse, the caretaker.
While there are mental health centers open around the state, many local sheriffs say the waiting list is sometimes years long. Burns says the bill makes clear that treatment should happen in a clinical setting under court supervision, not as a condition of incarceration.
A new interactive entertainment center in Fenton is hosting a hiring fair, looking to bring in about 85 new workers. Wow Entertainment's job fair will be January 29th through February 1st at the venue on Fielder Lane off 141. Full and part-time positions are being filled. Wow Entertainment includes bowling, mini golf, top golf simulators, karaoke, and much more, including a restaurant, bar, and event space.
Winter can really take a toll on the body's largest organ.
The cold air, low humidity, and you pumping your heat strips the skin's natural oils, making it all dry, flaky, and itchy.
Your skin is actually the barrier of protection to the outside environment.
And dermatologist Dr. Rachel Nazarian says when that gets impaired,
you can actually get sick and get infections when your skin barrier is broken.
She says our bodies are like humidifiers, releasing that crucial moisture into the dry air around us. Stacey Lynn, CBS News.
Now that a new study has found that being single into your 30s can actually affect your health, your mom is never going to stop saying you need to find someone nice and get married. Researchers at the University of Zurich found that younger single men in particular were more likely to develop depression the longer they went solo. Single women weren't that much better off. They reported depression leading to headaches, insomnia, and digestive issues.
It is 7:56.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/Mike.
With Fidelity Wealth Management, a dedicated advisor gets to know you and your goals to build a comprehensive plan to help grow and protect your wealth. Backed by a team of specialists, they'll analyze all your accounts, even the ones they don't manage, to keep an eye on taxes and provide proactive portfolio insights that can help you unlock your wealth's full potential. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line. But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he Vaporize that ball. That fun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
Ouch! Check from behind. Man, that's gotta hurt.
I'd hire Morgan & Morgan if I were them.
What?
Yeah, Dan, America's largest injury law firm. They serve up justice, ice, cold, law. Know what I mean?
I guess.
Their gloves come off when they fight for you.
Okay.
I'm talking a settlement slapshot.
Shouldn't we be talking about the game?
Yeah, Dan, Morgan & Morgan.
Proud partner of the St. Louis Blues. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Just before 8 o'clock, an update now from Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Scott, we still have our issue southbound 170 at Scudder. The exit shut down due to an overturned semi. South 170 has delays almost all the way back to 270. Still working this crash with injuries. Eastbound 70 at Cave Springs. Only the right lane is open. Traffic is a solid jam at Mid-Rivers now. Eastbound 64, still have that crash in the left lane at 94. Traffic's jam midway back to Winghaven. Once you get around that, it's still slow from Lindbergh. From Ballas to Lindbergh, and then right at the Interbelt, westbound 64 Science Center, headed out to Hanley's heavy, south 270, 364 to Ladue, north 270, Tess on Ferry up to Ladue is all slow. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today is Tuesday, January 20th. I'm Debbie Monterrey, and coming up in the next hour on Total Information AM, The Pit could be the latest TV drama spurring new interest in medicine.
I'm Scott Jagow. President Trump says there's no going back on plans to take over Greenland. We'll get the latest from CBS News.
Dietitians now had a chance to fully digest the government's new food pyramid.
Can even the most inane children's shows have some redeeming themes? You'll hear more from a mom and a mass communications professor.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. A frigid start to our day with clouds and some sun. Becoming mostly sunny and breezy this afternoon, the high 42.
At the Tone, it's 8 o'clock.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Pfizer.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. European leaders are gathered at the World Economic Summit in Switzerland, and they're venting over President Trump's new threat to hit them with tariffs. They don't go along with his plans for Greenland. Correspondent Holly Williams.
The truth is that America's NATO allies in Europe are angry and shocked.
We see this as unnecessary and irresponsible.
It is not easy when we wake up every morning to new threats.
In a telephone interview with NBC News Monday, President Trump said he would 100% follow through on threats to slap extra tariffs on 8 European nations next month, unless a deal is reached to sell the Arctic island to the U.S.
Mr. Trump due to arrive in Davos tomorrow. His threats are roiling the markets today.
Wall Street is worried about widening trade tensions between the U.S. and Europe.
Markets hate surprises. Markets hate uncertainty. Markets hate instability.
Michael Farr, the chairman of Farcrest Capital, suggests investors wait these tensions out before making any big changes to their portfolios.
When these international events come up over the years, markets tend to react in the short term, but it does not tend to change prices over the long term.
Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Dow futures are down 714. Brutal winter weather is here to stay for a while. CBS News meteorologist Rob Marciano.
More is coming from our friends in Canada, driving down across the Northern Plains Thursday, Friday. This one settles in well below normal temperatures into the Mid-South, and we've got a little system that's going to break through the ridge in the west, and that will tap some moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. Those two combinations is not a good thing here. We're looking for an icy mix from Dallas to Memphis.
Temps expected to drop to below freezing in parts of Georgia and Florida. The U.S. is set to host some of the world's biggest sporting events over the next few years, but a new Homeland Security proposal could determine who fills the seats.
The Washington Post says the proposed rule would require visitors from 42 visa waiver countries to provide more personal information, including 5 years of social media history before entering the United States. Critics say the policy could discourage millions of legitimate travelers, bringing the attendance down at major global events like the 2026 FIFA World Cup, 2028 Summer Olympics in LA, and the 2034 Winter Games in Salt Lake City. Stacey Lynn, CBS News, Washington.
For the first time in decades, a familiar name will not be starting at the NBA All-Star Game.
Oh, LeBron James! Major flush!
And that's LeBron didn't get enough votes this time to start, ending his record of 21 All-Star game streak. Deborah, this is CBS News.
You still got it, but your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Sponsored.
At 8:03, we have cloudy skies, 17 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Tuesday, January 20th. I'm Megan Lynch. A small earthquake rattled some people out of bed early this morning on both sides of the Mississippi River. Correspondent Nancy Hardy reports.
The 3.8 magnitude earthquake erupted near the town of Ullman, some 44 miles southeast of Springfield. The U.S. Geological Survey says it happened at about 1:30 in the morning and about 5.5 miles underground. Felt by people as far away as St. Louis, Springfield, Decatur, and Effingham. Many said they felt their beds shake. The USGS says Alaska is the most earthquake-prone state and has a magnitude 7 earthquake almost every year. Florida and North Dakota have the smallest number of earthquakes in the U.S.
Did President Trump personally stop U.S. Steel from closing its Granite City plant? Despite reports that the White House vetoed a closure plan earlier this year, CEO David Burritt says that's not quite right. When asked if he would need permission to close a losing plant, Burritt pointed to Granite City as proof the company is in growth mode, not cutback mode.
Well, I think there were some communication issues surrounding that. That was at Granite City. Yeah. And as it turned out, we're actually turning on a blast furnace. And as long as demand is there, that's going to be a good business, too.
U.S. Steel currently investing $14 billion across its footprint, bolstered by its new partnership with Nippon Steel. You can hear more from David Burritt coming up later this hour at 8:50. In a KMOX News follow-up, businessman Paul McKee firing back at the St. Louis Development Corporation over a recent letter.
In response, McKee's attorneys claims the $116 million valuation they are asking for in exchange for Northside Regeneration's properties is because that's what they were appraised for. He adds the city's valuation was only listed in a 3-line Excel spreadsheet and was $20 million, representing a nearly $100 million gap between the two. The attorney says the city's valuation gives off the impression the NGA campus decreased the property's values. He adds the lawsuit against Northside Regeneration, accusing them of misusing tax credits, was settled without culpability. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Yesterday, we honored Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. A Missouri historian says Dr. King's biggest role was simply inspiring and encouraging African Americans and their supporters to challenge segregationist practices. Former State Historical Society of Missouri Director Gary Kramer says the famous civil rights leader visited Missouri about a dozen times.
Racial strife, racial conflict, racial hatred. I, in many ways, feel as though the atmosphere today is just as bad, if not worse, than it was in the pre-civil rights era.
King's assassin was James Earl Ray, who escaped from the Missouri State Penitentiary and killed King in 1968 in Memphis, Tennessee. If you're looking for something to do on a cold morning, Johnny Rabbit giving a presentation on St. Louis during World Wars I and II. He'll show a World War II movie that was filmed in 1944 at the Fox Theater. It's a free event from Oasis at the Clayton Rec Center. It starts at 10 a.m. Turbulence hit the timeline over the weekend after broadcaster Joe Buck took a swipe at his hometown airport, sparking a debate about whether St. Louis is flying high or in a free fall.
Buck posted a photo of an empty concourse on Saturday, sarcastically calling it total mayhem and asking what happened to the city's hub status. The ghost town comment quickly spiraled into a referendum on the entire St. Louis region. One viral response claimed the whole region seems washed, listing the loss of TWA, the Rams, and major corporate headquarters as proof of a St. Louis downfall. But while critics argued over the city's economic history, others came armed with current data to debunk the ghost town narrative. Frequent flyers pointed out that while Terminal 1 might be quiet, Southwest's Terminal 2 is consistently packed. In fact, airport data shared in the thread shows that 2024 was Lambert's busiest year in 2 decades, with passenger growth outpacing the critics in Kansas City by nearly double. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
From the business desk, sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com, the Grafton Ferry is about to become a daily option for drivers. Mayor Mike Morrow says the Southwest Illinois city is finalizing the purchase of the service and plans to expand operations to 365 days a year starting in April. He says keeping the boat running year-round is a game changer for the local economy.
We're very excited about this. I know that we've been working with the Calhoun Ferry Company, Denise and her people, and It's just been a wonderful move forward.
The city will own the boat, but the Calhoun Ferry Company will handle daily operations. Coming up this morning on Total Information AM, do popular shows like The Pit influence career choices? We'll talk about that. Plus, we'll get you a check of traffic and weather in 2 minutes. It's 8:08.
I do appreciate all the referrals that we receive daily. It is phenomenal. I've said it. I can't say it enough how much I do appreciate the referrals. With that being said, if you do refer me, you're in great hands. I will not sell homeowners that work hard for their money, just like myself, crap that they do not need. But if you want good quality, man, you can't even say cheap anymore. I don't think I can even say cheap by the... You can't even go by price. Oh, okay, that's another commercial. Call me, Bart Inman, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. Remember, it's the only number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600 or bartinman.com. Now that's Bart with a B. Inman with an I.com.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line. But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
8:10, looks like we still have some big delays on 70 this morning. Let's get the latest from Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, you're right, Megan. The flatbeds are arriving on the scene, but they're still working this crash. Eastbound 70 at Cave Springs, only the right lane is open. Eastbound 70 is a solid jam back through Mid-Rivers right now. Once you get around it, though, you're good to go. Still have the tractor-trailer overturned at the Scudder exit, South 170, slow from Airport Road down through there most of the way to 70. And then it's still busy from Olive to Delmar and Ladue down to 64, bumper to bumper after that. They cleared the crash eastbound 64 at 94, so things have opened up there. It's kind of heavy. 94 through Research Park. After that, there's slow stuff from Mason to Lindbergh and from the Inner Belt into Big Bend. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley, slow. Clayton Warson to 270 is busy. South 270, 364 to Olive, and then briefly at Ladue is slow. North 270, Gravois all the way to Ladue. That's still busy. And northbound 55 backed up from about the Union Road overpass up to River de Pere. Westbound 64, just heavy at the Poplar Street Bridge downtown now. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
A frigid start to the day with clouds and some sun. More sunshine this afternoon, breezy and becoming not so cold with a high up to 42. Increasing clouds and remaining breezy tonight, though 32. Tomorrow, clouds give way to sunshine. A breezy day with a high in the mid-40s. Thursday, sunshine filtered through high clouds, the high temperature 38. Much colder Friday and Saturday. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
We have cloudy skies, 17 degrees now, downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. The show The Pit is the latest medical drama to win a lot of accolades and a really loyal following. Doctors are even praising it for its accuracy. Could it spur a new generation of people to go into the medical field? Joining me now, Barna Donovan, professor of communication and media studies at St. Peter's University in Jersey City, New Jersey, who has studied this very thing. Good morning, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Is there a connection between popular TV shows and career choices?
There
for many people, there is a strong connection, and between popular television, films, books, the entertainment that people have been raised on. That this is what's giving people ideas about the world, about careers that they can pursue by how they depict them on the screen. So when you have someone who's trying to think of, well, what am I good at? What do I like? And then automatically, what kind of entertainment I'm attracted to, and look at the exciting and important work that doctors are doing with the example of the pit, that absolutely it can be influential.
I think of, for example, Star Trek and all the people I've heard interviewed from NASA who
Yes.
say they watched it and it influenced them, or even remember the CSI franchise that spurred a whole bunch of people to go into forensic science.
Oh, sure, sure. And I've seen examples of both of those. Well, firsthand, with people who are interested in the forensic science with police departments, where a couple of years ago at this open house event that we had at St. Peter's, and you had prospective students come and talk to the various departments, and I overheard a lot of the students who are going to talk to criminal justice always referencing CSI. NCIS, they're using the chemicals and the lasers. I love the show. It's so intriguing. And I know that is real, that real police departments are doing that. So I'd like to study that. Can I do that for real? Or with with Star Trek and NASA. When they built the prototype of the space shuttle, one that just was used as a glider, it was called the Enterprise for a reason. That the NASA is full of Trekkies. Now, usually the actors from the original series, they tell a story of how they were invited to NASA when they rolled out the space shuttle, and they were going there. They were so excited about meeting real engineers and real astronauts. And then suddenly they're being treated like like the Beatles here, like the biggest celebrities, because all of these people have been Trekkies when they were watching the original TV show, and that inspired them to then go into science and space exploration.
You've written several books. One of them is intriguing to me: Blood, Guns, and Testosterone, Action Films, Audiences, and a Thirst for Violence. I'm wondering how that translated into career choices.
It translated into career choices for several people who wanted to go into law enforcement and the military, because it's a action films and then violent action films. I mean, that is a whole big complicated issue and research, and then usually it's a point of fear, that why are people watching violent entertainment. So I took a look at that, and I spoke to people specifically, and many of them are saying that, well, these are really great moral stories of people standing up against injustice, of becoming the best at something, like the top commandos, the top police officers. So there was one person who I was interviewing, who had grown up enjoying spy and adventure novels and movies, and then later he joined the army. He went through the special forces, right? So this guy, one of the best of the best, like the Green Berets, because of what he had been inspired by. His imagination was captured by what soldiers are doing, and ultimately, where he says, "Yeah, this is something that will help me serve my country, that will help me fight for freedom if it comes for that." And interestingly enough, after he left the military, then he went into publishing. Where he had worked as an editor and a ghostwriter for various adventure series. So you see this interesting circular connection, that he's inspired as a kid, he goes into the military, and then later on he's working in publishing on telling stories of this. Or there was a person who was a former police officer, and he said, oh yeah, he loved all of the cop shows when he was a kid. Even the darker, more noir, more cynical stories, that he was just so fascinated by police work. And interestingly, he was concerned about violence and entertainment like that. But he said that at the core, you still have these stories, and his favorite ones were the ones he said that are not too much in the moral gray area. But you see that police officers are on a quest for justice, and then on the end of the story, the moral order is restored. So definitely, it is very much in line with various other studies of people, especially police work and entertainment. That there have been just decades and decades and decades of detectives who said that when they were little kids, they fell in love with the Sherlock Holmes novels. And that just something clicked in there, going and finding the evidence, the logical thinking it takes to go and pull it all together and solve the crime. And they would say, "Yeah, I want to do this for real." So absolutely, the connection can be very strong.
Yeah, I grew up watching WKRP and the Mary Tyler Moore Show, so I wonder if that influenced me at all.
It definitely looks like.
Right. Well, Varna, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time on this today.
Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it.
That is Varna Donovan, professor of communication and media studies at St. Peter's University in Jersey City, New Jersey, joining us this morning on KMOX. And still ahead on Total Information AM, we're going to look at President Trump's tariff threat over Greenland. CBS News White House correspondent Natalie Brand is up next on the show. A little bit later, Michelle Wilson, registered dietitian, a frequent guest of the show, is going to give her take on the new food pyramid. And then, we've talked about the media. We're going to talk about how to help your kids glean positive messages from media with Ashton Spino, associate professor and graduate director in the mass comm department at SIUE. Right now, it's 8:19. Let's get another check on the roads for you this morning. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, we still have our jam on eastbound Highway 70 at Cave Springs. This traffic report serves of financial and tax strategies. They did just clear the crash, it looked like to me. So there's still a backup, but it'll get better. In fact, it's only backed up from the Spencer Road overpass into the Cave Springs area. As you come up the hill from Mid Rivers, you start to see the delays. But like I said, it's opening up before you get to Cave Springs. So give it another 10, 15 minutes. You should be back on the go. North 270 north of Gravois up to Ladue. That's still heavy. Eastbound 64 from Lindbergh into Big Bend, still slow. South 170, still this overturned semi on the Scudder exit. The exit's closed. It's jammed back to Airport Road. You may want to get off there. South 170 is also heavy from Olive down to 64. Westbound 64 Hampton to Hanley, slow. Northbound 55 Bayless up the river to Paris, backed up. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We have a cold start this morning. We'll have a mix of clouds and sun today. Not quite as cold this afternoon. We're expecting it to reach a high of 42 degrees today. Increasing clouds, breezy tonight with an overnight low of 32. And then tomorrow, breezy again. Clouds should give way to sunshine, a high of 44. Right now, we have 17 degrees under cloudy skies downtown at the Arch.
Retirement shouldn't feel like balancing a checkbook while blindfolded. I'm Gary Goldberg, and my team helps you see the big picture so you can retire younger, richer, and with less anxiety. Because guessing is not a strategy. Tune in to Wealth and Wisdom with Gary Goldberg Saturday mornings at 7 here on KMOX.
Barnes Jewish Hospital and WashU Medicine physicians have long been leaders in heart and vascular care. Now, we're taking the patient experience to another level by opening our new state-of-the-art patient tower, designed specifically with heart patients in mind. By combining the latest technology with thoughtful design and private rooms, heart patients can experience faster healing, reduced stress, and improved outcomes. Learn more at barnesjewish.org/heart.
If you need a garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are open now for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. A winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of your choice. Deadline to enter is the end of the month to win the $5,000 sweepstakes with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Enter now at overheaddoorstlouis.com. You can't win if you don't enter at overheaddoorstlouis.com.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right.
Y'all gotta try that Febreze car.
Just right, just right. just right, yeah. La 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 la. With up to 40 days of consistency, all over Breeze car clips right on your bed. You know my car's my happy place. Keep a smile on my face when it smells just right, yeah. Breathe happy for Breeze. La 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 la.
Start the new year off on a healthier note by taking active liver supplements from New Nordic every day. Available online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com or at your local CVS, ShopRite, Meijer Grocery, or Wegmans.
Thanks for listening to Total Information AM here on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. President Donald Trump says he will tell European leaders we have to have Greenland at this week's forum in Davos, Switzerland. Mr. Trump says there is, quote, no going back. CBS News White House correspondent Natalie Brand is covering the story and joins us this morning here on KMOX. Natalie, thanks so much for your time this morning.
Good morning, Megan. Good to be with you.
So it sounds like the latest is that the president has threatened 8 European allies with increased tariffs over this issue. What is he saying and what's the response?
Yeah, I mean, there's been great alarm over that threat, which came over the weekend in the form of a Truth Social post, and diplomats told CBS News that they didn't get any sort of warning through official channels ahead of that social media post. And so this was yet another twist in the president's escalating talk about this push to acquire Greenland and threatening, U.S. allies with tariffs starting in February if a deal wasn't reached. So, all of this looms over this key World Economic Forum in Davos. The president leaves tonight. And I think it's going to dominate sideline conversations at the summit with, a lot of these European allies and NATO members looking to try to de-escalate tensions and hoping that maybe face-to-face meetings with President Trump will help. But overnight, the president on Truth Social really signaled that he is not backing down, saying that, that Greenland is imperative for national and world security. He's worried about threats from Russia and China. And he also, in this kind of provocative post, put out this image of the president planting an American flag in Greenland. And then on top of that, he posted some private messages from European leaders, one from the French president, Emmanuel Macron, which read in part Macron saying, quote, I do not understand what you are doing on Greenland, and asked to convene a G7 meeting. So you can just see, Megan, that the tensions, they are escalating, and Davos is really setting the stage for what's going to be some really interesting sideline conversations.
If that was actually the text, how unusual is it for a president to share snippets of a private exchange with another world leader?
Highly unusual. And a French official did confirm to CBS News that that was, in fact, a message, that this message was authentic, and also went on to say that it just shows Macron's statements in public and private are the same. And this official went on to reiterate that on Greenland, the French and European allies respect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of states, calling that non-negotiable. But it is unusual, and it kind of comes over the weekend. There was this other back and forth between President Trump and Norway's prime minister, in which a conversation of theirs was shared publicly. This message from the president to Norway suggested that because he didn't win last year's Nobel Peace Prize, President Trump said, quote, he no longer has an obligation to think purely of peace, saying he can think about what is good and proper for the U.S. That exchange became public yesterday and was out there to the media. So perhaps, the president was kind of thinking, okay, well, I'm going to share other messages from European leaders. And there was also one from the NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte, which was kind of more of a measured favorable message for President Trump, saying, quote, he's committed to finding a way forward on Greenland. Rutte, this past year has been very complimentary toward Trump, and obviously the signals these European leaders definitely doing what they can to try to approach him, diplomatically and keep the lines of communication open on this issue.
One last quick question for you. Denmark over the weekend, which is responsible for defense of Greenland, signaled that it's increasing its military presence there. What signals has the White House given on potential use of force to try to obtain Greenland?
Yeah, there's been, when this talk started, the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, really tried to downplay that talk that, this would come by military force, instead saying that the president wants to buy Greenland. And that's kind of the messaging that we've heard. Even if you listen to the president's most recent statements, it's always kind of like trying to talk about acquiring Greenland or coming to some deal, negotiating some deal. But the timing of this, a new twist is kind of significant. We've learned that military aircraft from NORAD, the North American Aerospace Defense Command, or NORAD, is expected to arrive in Greenland for long-planned activities, and that this had been, planned in advance, that there was coordination with Denmark and the government of Greenland. But obviously, the timing's significant since this is such a sensitive topic, even though it may not have any connection or seems to have no connection to the president's push to take over Greenland.
Natalie, thanks so much. Appreciate all your time this morning.
Thank you.
That is CBS News White House correspondent Natalie Brand. It's now 8:28. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Leave all the 2025 dirt and celebrate the new year with our friends from Zero Res. Carpets, tile, rugs, upholstery, hard surfaces, basically every surface in your home can be Zero Resified, so it's time to call the cleaning pros at Zero Res. Zero Res has a 4.9 rating on Google, bringing in the new year with 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $119 plus a free hallway. Take 15% off regularly priced services when you mention the KMOX special 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
With the new IHOP value menu, $6 is all it takes to go to your happy place, where stacks of pancakes with bacon and eggs are just $6 every day. French toast, sausage, and eggs are, you guessed it, $6. And fluffy omelets come with a side of pancakes and only cost $6. Go to your happy plates every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations. Available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
For 100 years, you've welcomed KMOX into your cars, your kitchens, and your daily routines.
You've trusted us through breaking news, championship celebrations, and the stories that shaped our city.
You've listened during moments of joy and leaned on us when times were uncertain.
From overnight shifts to early mornings, from one generation to the next, you've made KMOX part of your life.
From everyone at KMOX, thank you, St. Louis, for 100 unforgettable years.
KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Quick check of the roads now with Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, they're still working with the semi-overturn, Megan, on South 170 at the Scudder exit. Traffic's not that bad there. In fact, it's getting better all the way down. It's just a little slow. Olive to Del Mar and Brentwood down to 64. If you're on eastbound 70, everything's completely thinned out between Mid Rivers and Cave Springs. Earlier crash, as I said last time up, has been cleared. Eastbound 64 looks great until you get to Lindbergh. It's slow Lindbergh to Big Bend. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley's heavy. North 270, basically north of 44 to Ladou's the slowest part. 55 Bayless up to River to Pear is a little slow there as well. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
A cold start today, clouds and then some sun, breezy, not so cold this afternoon, a high of 42. Right now, cloudy skies, 17 downtown at the Arch.
Brought to you by Eamon Gantner and Capriano, YourEstateMatters.com. Eamon Gantner and Capriano, how's your family? Do you have a legal plan for them when you're gone? Eamon Gantner and Capriano, YourEstateMatters.com.
The choice of an attorney is an important decision and shouldn't be based solely on advertising.
And the weather comes to you from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk. Thanks for listening to Total Information AM here on KMOX. Of course, we've all heard now about the new food pyramid that has been released by the federal government. I have read so much about it and I still feel very confused. So I've brought in Michelle Wilson, registered dietitian with Brands Nutrition. Michelle, good morning.
Good morning.
So when we look at this new food pyramid, I've heard good things and bad things about it. For you, why don't you give us a rundown of what you like about it and maybe what you don't like about it?
What I like about it is that it emphasizes whole food versions of things. I think that that's never a bad thing. And emphasizing protein isn't necessarily a bad thing either, but something that's concerning to me is that tiny little bit at the bottom that's whole grains. It just seems kind of small to me.
So then that's a thing that I've heard is people look at this just because of the way it's proportioned.
Mhm.
I guess the way our brain interprets that and,
Yeah.
and what our portions should be. So give us a sense of for each of those things, like our proteins, our grains, our fruits and vegetables, what proportion would that be of our meal each time?
Yeah. So the thing that I find interesting about this infographic difference, this design difference on a pyramid is it seems a little bit less intuitive than the previous My Plate. So My Plate, it showed a circle where we had half of our plate was fruits and vegetables, about a quarter was protein, about a quarter was whole grain, the whole grains or refined grains. And then we had like a little cup with dairy on it. So it just seemed a little bit more visual to me. And with this visual representation with the pyramid, it doesn't seem like it's even ratio wise necessarily what they're recommending. So, for instance, like that little corner down at the bottom that says whole grains. So it's, saying that we need to have like up to 4 servings of whole grains, but then we have the fruits and vegetables section that's like 2 or 3 servings of each of those. And it seems like it's like so much bigger than the rest of it. So it just seems like a little bit less intuitive to me.
Another criticism that I have heard about it is the full fat dairy
Mhm.
and the red meat and things of that nature. Are you as concerned about those?
So I don't think that there's necessarily a problem with having whole fat versions of dairy products. What is concerning to me is that the saturated fat recommendations hasn't actually shifted from the previous one to the current one, which there's no problem with that if the general recommendation is less than 10% of your calories coming from saturated fat. But visual representation wise, it looks like, oh, well, we're supposed to be getting all of these proteins from our meats and our full fat dairy products. Portion wise, that seems like it would put us above that less than 10% recommendation for saturated fats.
So a lot of it just seems to be like the graphic representation of it that is concerning.
The graphic representation, but also the verbal representation. I've heard the phrase like ending the war on saturated fat. It's like, that's interesting because you didn't actually change anything about the recommendations for saturated fat. And also, how is this going to be implemented in schools and WIC? Because these dietary guidelines typically change those. And if that means that the WIC program is going to have more meats and produce, then, well, that's amazing. But if not, then, well, how are we really following through?
All right, Michelle, thank you so much for your insight. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
That is Michelle Wilson. She is a registered dietitian with Brands Nutrition, joining us this morning on KMOX.
I dared Archwell Health to keep track of my vitals and my grandkids' names.
I dared Archwell Health to simplify my prescriptions, so Max and I have more time to play. Good boy.
And I dared Archwell Health to be closer than my neighborhood coffee shop.
Our members dared us to do more as a primary care provider for adults age 60 and up. So we made it our mission. Visit archwellhealth.com and become a member today. Archwell Health, we dare to care.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's ruffgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's ruffgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
Your Money Report now, sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Courtney Donahoe.
The standoff between the U.S. and Europe over control of Greenland is weighing heavily on Wall Street this morning. Stocks are looking at losses as President Trump insists the U.S. should take over Greenland. The S&P 500 appears set to wipe out this year's 1.4% gain. On Friday, stocks saw small losses, with the Dow finishing the day down 83 points. After the closing bell today, Netflix is out with its quarterly earnings report card. The streamer is in a fierce takeover battle with Paramount Skydance for Warner Brothers Discovery and has now sweetened its bid for the company to an all-cash offer. And car makers are planning to roll out at least 6 new electric SUVs in the U.S. this year, with price tags at or below $35,000. Products that could help ease a slowdown in EV sales. Of the roughly 60 electric cars and trucks for sales in the U.S. last year, only 3 could be had for less than $35,000. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay, where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic. Could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-491-9914. 800-491-9914. That's 800-491-9914.
Tom Ackerman, I have something for you. Genesis of St. Charles, the general manager there, Shay, I'd like you to walk in there and tell him that I sent you in and just see what happens. They're going to set you up with someone to show you their vehicles. They may offer you a very nice cup of coffee, and they have a great coffee machine there at Genesis of St. Charles. They are number one, and they're also the number one Genesis dealer in the state of Missouri. They're the first and only standalone Genesis dealership in the state of Missouri. They're at 5601 Veterans Memorial Parkway, right off Mid-Rivers Mall Drive and I-70. You're going to love Genesis of St. Charles. Genesis vehicles are very nice. They're luxurious, and that comes with a luxurious experience. Every purchase of a Genesis from Genesis of St. Charles comes with 3 years of complimentary Genesis service valet. That means complimentary vehicle pickup and delivery, plus a loaner vehicle at no additional cost. GenesisofStCharles.com.
SNL Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold-filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call SNL. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. SNL Coin.
Still ahead on Total Information AM. You know, some of those kids' TV shows that you watch with your kids can be pretty inane, but you can help them get positive messages out of it. We're going to find out how. Let's find out how you can get to work with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We've still got a few slow spots out there, Megan. This traffic report service of the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. Of course, that exit ramp from South 170 to Scudder remains closed due to an overturned semi. Get off at Airport Road if you can. South 170 is still slow. Olive to Delmar and Brentwood to 64. Eastbound 64, east of Lindbergh through Hanley, still heavy. Westbound 64, Bellevue to Hanley is slow. North 270, north of Big Bend, up through to Ladue is pretty busy. And northbound Elm from just north of Big Bend all the way up to Lockwood's jam. North of there, the right lane is closed as you approach Brentwood Kirkham for a long-term duration. So that may be today was the start date for that project. And eastbound 44 is a little heavy from Hampton through Kings Highway due to roadwork there. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sandberg Phoenix serves your business in litigation, intellectual property, and products liability. We're more than a law firm. We're committed to your success. Learn more at sandbergphoenix.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
Thanks for listening to Total Information AM. I'm Megan Lynch. We talk a lot about media and how it impacts your family. And I saw a really neat post on social media about how one area professor is approaching the media in a more positive way for our kids. Ashton Spino is associate professor and graduate director in the mass comm department at Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville. She joins me now. Thank you so much, Dr. Spino.
Thanks for having me.
So I saw that you spoke with a preschool class, and the thing that you had them do was talk about positive behaviors that they've noticed on their favorite shows. What sparked you to do that?
Yeah, so, it's important for us all to have media literacy. Media literacy is the ability to access, critically analyze, evaluate, and create media. And so I thought, how can I talk to preschoolers about media literacy in a way that is going to benefit them and is going to make sense to them? And I was kind of thinking about, some of these TV shows like Peppa Pig, where you see the reviews for parents and it's like, there's little educational value, they're disrespectful to their parents. And I thought, I don't know, I see some positive behaviors in there too. So I asked the kids, I said, what positive behaviors do you notice on your favorite TV shows? And it gave them a chance to identify these positive behaviors and kind of hear them together. One kid talked about how on Peppa Pig, one of the characters makes jokes that makes their friends laugh and makes their family members laugh. And they, were happy in their friendships and happy in their family. And so, I just think it's no matter what your kids are watching, they can find something positive from it, and you can kind of reinforce those behaviors for your kids.
Do you think sometimes we make analyzing TV shows and other things kind of negative and maybe scary for kids sometimes?
Yes, I do. I think, as researchers, it's a lot of times there's certainly more research documenting the negative effects of TV shows. And it's for good, intentions, like let's protect children. But there's a lot of positive stuff there too. And I think with young kids, especially the preschool age, and this, I'm a mom too, and I've noticed this, it's good to focus on those positive behaviors and reinforce those behaviors. If we focus too much on the negative with young kids, that can get, it can get confusing for them, I think.
So for parents out there that are hearing this and they're thinking, okay, how do I prompt these kind of discussions with my own kids? What are some tips or even some prompts for kids that you can give them?
Yeah. So one tip I think, and this worked for me, is it feels like there's no time to have these conversations. So, it's like the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends, no more than 1 hour per day of high quality content for kids. Watch the program with your children and then discuss it. And a lot of us feel like, gosh, I don't feel like I have time for that. I'm putting on something on TV so I can make dinner and then we're running to the next thing. So I think it can be as simple as when you're in the car on the way to hockey practice or whatever it is, you can ask your kid I saw you were watching Daniel Tiger or whatever it was earlier. What happened in the episode, just getting them to recall what the story was. Then you can ask them about something positive that they noticed. You can ask them how the episode made them feel, what they liked about it. And then if you're feeling really advanced, you can then kind of give them a compliment or positive reinforcement like, oh, yes, and I've seen you do that sometimes in your friendship circles. Or you could say that would be a good thing. That might be a good thing for you as well.
I know you typically work with college students. How do they handle their critique of media content? Are they critical consumers?
Well, I can say the students in our department at SIUE in the Department of Mass Comm, yes, we work really hard, and I do feel confident that our seniors are critical media consumers. So they go through a process of years of learning, of being able to analyze what's on the screen. I think they do. Some of my students say, at first when I was analyzing all the time, you kind of made me hate watching TV. And then they move on from that and they're able to appreciate media while also critiquing it simultaneously.
No, I think the thing we know in this day and age is, maybe my generation, we were always just consumers of the media. But for these younger generations, they also are producing content as well. How do we make that shift from, okay, you saw this positive thing on TV, to how are you going to create some positive content?
Yeah, so that's kind of the next step in the discussion. That's the last step in media literacy. So the beginning stages are like, where do I access different types of media? How do I analyze it? Is it good or bad? What does it mean for individuals and the larger society? And then it's that next step of, well, when I create media, what do I want my message to be? And how can I create my message to be inclusive and equitable so that all types of consumers can appreciate and enjoy and benefit from my message?
Anything else you would tell parents as they kind of work through this process in their own homes?
I would say just have confidence, you know what you're doing. I think there's a lot of messages for parents these days to, make healthy meals, only show good content. It's like the standards are so high. I think it's like, just know that you're doing your best, and you can fit those little conversations in anywhere with a simple question of, what's a positive thing you noticed today on TV?
Thank you so much. That is Dr. Ashton Spino with Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville's Mass Comm Department. Appreciate your time today.
Thanks. Take care.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here for FanDuel Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of KMOX, my official sportsbook as well. And they have turned on playoff mode. All customers of FanDuel can get a profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. So each game day during the championship round, you'll find a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts waiting for you right there in the app. And more boosts just means more ways to level up your playoff bets. So pick the matchups you believe in if you like winner or loser or just the point spreads. Maybe take a shot on an upset. I'm actually looking at the under in a couple of opportunities this week. You could build a parlay that fits the moment. However you want to do it, it's up to you. And then you apply your profit boosts and go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs continue to roll. So visit FanDuel.com/Missouri and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. Remember, 21 or older and present in Missouri to play. Opt-in is required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost token, and restrictions apply, including any token expiration or max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com. Start your engine, St. Louis. The St. Louis Auto Show is back, and it's bigger, faster, and more exciting than ever. See the latest cars, trucks, SUVs, and electric vehicles, all at the America Center January 22nd through 25th. From cutting-edge technology to luxury rides and family favorites, this is the ultimate auto auto experience. Whether you consider yourself a car enthusiast or not, this event has something for everyone. More information at kmox.com/events.
You're back with Total Information AM on 104.1 FM KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. U.S. Steel CEO David Burritt says the restart of the blast furnace in Granite City is being driven by the market and not politics. Despite reports that the White House vetoed a closure plan earlier this year, Burritt said in a CBS News interview that's not quite right.
Well, there's nothing in this golden share that prevents us from doing what we want to do. We're aligned with what the president wants us to do. In fact, we wouldn't have agreed to this thing if we weren't sure it was going to be great for our workers and great for our company.
The Wall Street Journal, looking at that deal, thinking about it, and other business publications, they've used this term state capitalism. It's capitalism, but you've got this extraordinary state intervention. How do you feel about it? Or how would you describe it, I guess?
I don't see it as a great intervention because the things that are in this, we don't want to do anyway. Like things like changing the name of U.S. Steel. If we want to change the name, we have to get approval for that.
Yeah.
Idle a facility, we don't want to idle a facility. How about, the idea of following the trade laws? We follow the trade laws, so it's not that big a deal for us. What's important here is the investment that we got here, and we're unencumbered with that investment to create the best steel in the world.
I was in a conference room before this, preparing for the interview, and the Carnegie Way is on the wall. Sure. Profit and a relentless focus on profit is a part of that. Sometimes profit means closing a plant. Do you have to get approval from the president if you want to do that?
We don't see us closing a plant. In fact, we just did have an opening here because of demand increasing at Granite City.
But if you had to make a difficult business decision.
If we had to make a difficult business decision, we would have to get approval to close a plant, but we don't see a reason to do that.
Does that still feel like capitalism to you? What would Ronald Reagan say?
Well, you might have to ask him.
I don't think he's available for an interview, but I asked this seriously because if you read the business press, the conversation around this is new. It's a new form of American business. People have not dealt with it before.
We were delighted that we have this golden share because, again, what it does for us is make sure the investments that we want to make are going to be made. We have a national security agreement to make sure that we spend or commit $10.8 billion by the end of 2028. That's exciting. Think about that level of investment in the steel industry. You know what that means to communities and people's lives? And, I was just talking with workers here recently. Yeah. Every one of them are saying, thank goodness for this deal. My kids are going to have a great opportunity to work right here at Irvin or right here in the Mon Valley or any of our facilities because this deal got done. That's the key message here.
So how many jobs do you anticipate being able to add in the years to come?
Well, there's been economic studies on all this. There's thousands of jobs that will be created as a result of that. Just you think about the trades. Building the equipment requires a lot of support. So there's been independent economic development studies that talk about 100,000 direct or indirect jobs.
It's a big number.
Yeah.
And Nippon has been delivering on all the promises?
It's a partnership, even better than I imagined. They're transferring technology to us and allowing us to run this business. They are the best partners you can imagine.
And just because I'm a plain-spoken guy and a lot of our viewers just want a bottom line, is U.S. Steel still a U.S. company?
Absolutely is. U.S. Steel Corporation, that's our brand, that's our name, headquartered in Pittsburgh, and we're going to keep it there and continue to build here.
Did President Trump, as I read, and as he said, veto an attempt to close a plant in Illinois?
Well, I think there were some communication issues surrounding that. That was at Granite City. Yeah. And as it turned out, we're actually turning on a blast furnace. And as long as demand is there, that's going to be a good business too. But, we can't guarantee things will stay open.
That's U.S. Steel CEO David Burritt speaking with CBS News. U.S. Steel currently investing $14 billion across its footprint, bolstered by its new partnership with Nippon Steel.
Cold weather is here. Is snow in our future? We're going to check in with AccuWeather on that. We'll talk finances with Dave Simons. And Indiana has won the college football national championship. Dennis Dodd joins the show. All that and more coming up on the Chris and Amy Show right after the news on KMOX.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Money, sponsored by